heroes in this era of technological obsession. The leaders of the technology sector are treated like rock stars, and their announcements of cutting-edge technology are heard by billions of people worldwide. The Serbian inventor Nikola Tesla, who held nearly 300 patents, was in charge of such groundbreaking technology as the alternating current, was one of the first tech icons. Nikola Tesla, a Serbian-American engineer and physicist, made numerous advances in the generation, transmission, and use of electric power. He invented the first alternating current motor and pioneered the development of AC generation and transmission technology. Despite his notoriety and respect, he never succeeded in turning his innumerable inventions into long-term financial success, unlike Thomas Edison, his main rival and former employer. In this video, we'll tell you about Nikola Tesla's last message and his prediction to future generations revealed in old documents. On July 10, 1856, Tesla was born in the Croatian town of Smiljan. He arrived in the midst of a lightning strike. The midwife reportedly predicted that the child would be a child of darkness halfway through birth, to which the mother allegedly responded, "No, he will be a child of light." She had no idea how prophetic those words would turn out to be. Throughout his lifetime, his popularity changed, but it peaked recently. He is now more than just a cult figure. His predictions of future technology have elevated Tesla to the status of a veritable oracle of our time, and his name graces one of our time's most newsworthy tech companies. Nikola Tesla had some mind-blowing predictions for the future, some of which even became true. He started having visions as a child, along with light flashes that made him unable to distinguish between the real world and his imagination. This remained constant. He could imagine inventions in such detail in his head as a result of the vision that he didn't even need to sketch them out. In a 1919 article, he described how the designs were refined in his head. He once commented that his device always performs as he had imagined it would, and that the experiments turn out precisely as he had intended. There hasn't been a single exception in 20 years, expressed Tesla. Tesla attributes his interest in inventions to his mother. In her spare time, his mother created a variety of small home appliances. She possessed an eidetic memory which allowed her to recall an image from memory accurately, and she passed this ability to her son. Tesla's father was a priest and desired him to follow in his footsteps, but Tesla had a passion for engineering. His father promised to send him to engineering school if he survived cholera when he was a teen, and miraculously he did. He moved to Austria to attend the Technical College of Graz, where he reportedly worked from 3 in the morning until 11 at night every day. Professors feared he would pass away from exhaustion. Tesla possessed an extraordinary mind. He spoke 8 languages and had the ability to do calculus in his head. He started out as a good student, but refused to finish school. Tesla left school early, traveled throughout Europe, and finally settled in Budapest, where he worked as an electrician for a telephone company. Tesla's prediction of data transmission without wires came true with the invention of the internet in the early 1990s. Various theories and designs centered on wireless data transmission resulted from Nikola Tesla's obsession with the subject. Tesla wanted to go further than Guglielmo Marconi, who was the first to send letters in Morse code across the Atlantic. He boldly asserted that one day wireless technology would allow the global transmission of music, video, documents, and telephone signals. While he never succeeded in doing this during his lifetime, his prediction was turned true in the early 1990s with the development of the internet. Tesla also predicted the future in an interview with Collier's magazine in 1926. Based on his concept of technology that could transmit images, music, and even video across the globe, he coined the term vest pocket technology. Tesla may have foreseen the development of the smartphone nearly a century before it was actually created. We shall be able to witness and hear events just as though we were present, he said in a reference to the technology. His 1926 interview with Collier's, titled "When Woman is Boss," mainly discussed his belief that women would use wireless technology to improve their education and employment prospects and ultimately overtake men as the dominant sex. While it may be challenging to draw a direct connection between technology and women's social and political liberation over the past century, it is undeniable that women are rising to leadership positions worldwide. Women today are rapidly using technology to spread awareness of international movements like the #MeToo campaign and girls' right to education that pertain to the whole women's population
I didn't see
globally.
that coming in this
This
video.
struggle of the human female towards sex equality will end in a new sex order, with the female as superior, Tesla remarked. Tesla showed off a wireless, remote-controlled tele-automaton in 1898 at an electrical exhibition in Madison Square Garden, New York. Today, most people would refer to this device as a remote-controlled toy boat. He astounded onlookers with this new technology, harnessing the power of wireless communication, robotics, and logic gates. His 4-foot-long antennae-equipped boat maneuvered around a dot of water, while flashing lights made it primarily appear magical. Tesla We Can Attest thought of a variety of uses for remote-controlled machines, while military minds saw the potential application of this boat as a torpedo. Our homes are filled with numerous remote-controlled gadgets, and the military has extensively used long-range weapons like drones and missiles. Many people thought a tiny monkey was controlling it from the inside. He wasn't that far from the advancements in drone technology we've witnessed in recent years, believing there would one day be a place for remote-controlled machines. He boldly declared that the progress of the whole human race is regulated by the power available, alluding to his conviction that providing free electricity would benefit those struggling with deprivation and poverty. He started constructing at Wardenclyffe, a wireless communication tower on the American East Coast in 1901 to send energy across the Atlantic. Unfortunately, it never got finished. His plan for power and early internet for the world came crashing down in 1902, quite literally. Tesla's investors at JP Morgan weren't happy about offering everything for free, so in an effort to recover the money from the scrap, the tower was blown up and the world was forced to wait an additional 90 years for a public World Wide Web. The Tower of Power was partially built in 1904 in Shoreham, Long Island, New York, thanks to Tesla's work on a
Free
power
internet would be
generator
pretty
that
sweet.
could transmit energy wirelessly. It had a spherical
No.
top that was
Greedy
68 feet in
corporations.
diameter and 187 feet high. Curiously, the United States destroyed the tower in 1917 on the rumor that German spies were using it. Nikola Tesla predicted electric cars and autopilot, which he expressed in an interview. As early as 1898, I proposed to representatives of a large manufacturing concern the construction and public exhibition of an automobile carriage which, left to itself, would perform a great variety of operations involving something akin to judgment. Tesla envisioned planes that need no fuel. This concept stems from the capability of long-distance energy transmission without
So
wires.
glitchy.
He explained that the propulsion of flying machines which won't require any fuel and won't be
Okay.
constrained by the same rules that currently apply to airplanes and airships will likely prove to be the most valuable use of wireless energy. He articulated that people would be able to ride from New York to Europe in a few hours. Tesla thought that international borders would be largely eliminated, which would be a significant step toward the unification and peaceful coexistence of the various races that inhabit the world. According to him, wireless would not only make it possible for a region to receive energy, even if it's inaccessible, but it will also be politically influential by bringing together different national interests and fostering understanding rather than nurturing conflict. In the latter years of his life, Tesla worked on a particle beam weapon that he believed would put an end to all wars. It would be so strong that it could easily take out anything the enemy threw at you, even from a great distance away. War would be pointless if such a weapon existed in every nation. The idea of mutually assured destruction was the cornerstone of the Cold War because the sides with nuclear weapons dared not attack one another, even though the ray was never built and the plans for it mysteriously vanished. In a 1933 interview, he elaborated on some concepts that seemed absurd. This particular invention would more closely resemble an MRI in a modern setting because it can perform some of the functions Tesla is referring to here. I expect to photograph thoughts. In 1893, while engaged in certain investigations, I became convinced that a definite image formed in thought must, by reflex action, produce a corresponding image on the retina, which might be read by a suitable apparatus. Now, if it be true that a thought reflects on an image on the retina, it is a mere question of illuminating the same property and taking photographs, and then using the ordinary
I don't
methods
think
which
you're
are
right,
available to
but
project the image on a
it's an
screen.
interesting
If this
concept.
can be done successfully, then the objects imagined by a person would be clearly reflected on the screen as they are formed, and in this way, every thought of the individual could be read. Our minds would then indeed be like open books. At one instance, Tesla gave the bizarre prediction of flying cars. He said he foresees the development of the flying machine exceeding that of the automobile and expects Mr. Ford to make significant contributions toward this progress. Tesla furthered that the problem of parking automobiles and furnishing separate roads for commercial and pleasure traffic will be solved.
No. No.
He said,
don't
belted
need to go
parking
out.
towers
You're
will
fine.
arise in our large cities, and the roads will be multiplied through sheer necessity or finally rendered unnecessary when civilization exchanges wheels for wings. He relocated to Paris in 1882 to work for Thomas Edison's electric company's French division. He began by installing indoor lighting, but after the managers became aware of his abilities, they hired him to do more challenging work, such as designing and constructing dynamos and motors. Soon he was traveling across Europe, troubleshooting issues at other Edison branches. Tesla's manager extended an employment offer to him at the Edison Machine Works in New York City 2 years later, in 1884. He agreed, but his money was stolen on the boat ride over, so he only had 4 cents in his pocket when he arrived in America. Tesla at first thought highly of Edison. Edison was also impressed by Tesla, later saying, "I have had many hard-working assistants, but you take the cake." This mutual admiration, however, didn't last. The two men disagreed on the best way to deliver and contain electricity. Edison preferred direct current, a system in which the flow of electric charge is unidirectional. Tesla was more fond of alternating current, in which the electric charge regularly reverses direction. Alternating current, AC, can transmit power further and provide more power. It explains why direct current, DC, powers more compact devices like flashlights, while AC powers our homes and other large appliances. However, since he held all the patents for direct current, Edison didn't care about AC because it might have reduced the sales of DC. Regardless of how the story ended, Tesla quit and left to start his own electric company the following year in 1885. Edison reportedly said to him, "You don't understand our American humor." However, his investors lacked enthusiasm and decided to acquire both the business and all of Tesla's patents. They were able to do this because Tesla had given the company the patents in exchange for stock that was now worthless, and Tesla had to take a job digging ditches for $2 per day after losing his company in order to survive. But things would turn around for him. Tesla created an alternating current-powered induction motor in 1887. The motor was the most effective method of converting electrical energy into mechanical power. Elon Musk's Tesla cars, which bear his name, are powered by a variation of it. George Westinghouse, a significant player in the electric industry, was drawn to Tesla's AC motor after he patented it and displayed it the following year at the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. Westinghouse realized that Tesla's AC motor might be just what he needed to finish his alternating current system and compete against Edison's DC system. As a result, Tesla paid Westinghouse $60,000 to license the AC motor patents in exchange for stock and royalties. Westinghouse employed him as a consultant for $2,000 per month, which is more than $50,000 per month in today's dollars. The Battle of the Current started. Edison made a concerted effort to malign Tesla and Westinghouse. He covertly funded the electric chair to demonstrate how dangerous alternating current was. In order to make its case, Edison's company also publicly tortured animals. They electrocuted Topsy, a circus elephant, in 1903, and made a movie called Electrocuting an Elephant about it. Despite Edison's schemes, Westinghouse and Tesla were experiencing success. They submitted a lower bid than Edison and his recently established business General Electric to light the world's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. The 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America was commemorated with the first ever all-electric fair. The 27 million attendees could see that AC was the way of the future. They won over Edison's General Electric once more to construct Niagara Falls' first alternating current power plant, continuing their winning streak. The hydroelectric power plant was a huge success and contributed to Buffalo, New York being illuminated. The facility's construction also marked Tesla's entry into the field of renewable energy. Today, his statue can be seen standing at Niagara Falls. Direct current was being phased out due to Westinghouse and Tesla winning the war of currents. However, there were issues. The company owned by Westinghouse was out of money and eventually racked up a $10 million debt. In an effort to save the business, he went to Tesla in 1897 and asked if his royalties could be decreased. Tesla tore up his contract because he was so moved by compassion for his friend. When no one else would, Westinghouse believed in Tesla and he was appreciative of that fact. Tesla voluntarily turned down $12 million in royalties, which are now worth over $300 million. He probably would have become the world's richest man and the first to have a net worth of over $1 billion if he had held on to those royalties over time. Tesla received $216,000 from Westinghouse in exchange for the unrestricted use of his AC patents. This is roughly the same as $60 million today. With that money, Tesla established his financial independence and launched several new projects in New York, where he hosted visits from the rich and famous, including Mark Twain, a close friend and one of the greatest American authors of all time. This was his period of many inventions. The Tesla coil, a device that can generate significant amounts of high-voltage electricity, is among his best-known creations. He found that he could send and receive strong radio signals when the coils resonated at the same frequency. But when Tesla was about to transmit his first radio signal, tragedy struck. In 1895, a fire destroyed his laboratory. He lost years of research
I don't have
and
to
tools.
pay you.
It took Tesla 2 years before the radio
No.
was the subject of a patent application. His life spiraled downward after the fire, which would mark a turning point. Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian businessman, was working on the radio in England at the same time that he was. He attempted to obtain his patent rights, but was denied because his invention was too similar to Tesla's. However, everything changed in 1901 when Marconi used 17 of Tesla's patents to transmit the first transatlantic radio message, ushering in a new era. Then Edison decided to support Marconi financially. Tesla had no issue with Marconi's accomplishments, but the US Patent Office abruptly changed its mind in 1904 and gave Marconi a patent for the development of the radio. The solid financial support Marconi received may help to explain why this choice was made, even though no explanation has ever been provided. It was only because of Tesla's work that Marconi was able to win the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1911. Furious, Tesla filed a lawsuit against Marconi. Years of court proceedings resulted in a settlement in Tesla's favor that was only reached after his passing. The rest of Tesla's career suffered due to that radio incident. For instance, Tesla was driven to make wireless communication a reality and constructed the enormous Wardenclyffe Tower wireless transmission tower in Long Island, New York. He pictured a world in which we could communicate wirelessly. However, many of his inventions were impossible to construct. Those comprised the wireless transmission of electricity, the thought camera, and the death ray. He also wanted to make an earthquake machine that could create artificial earthquakes. Scientists could have used it to find essential minerals inside the Earth. Once more, he was far ahead of his time. Financial backers, however,
Death ray?
lacked sufficient confidence in his project. Instead, they withdrew and bet on Marconi's radio invention. Tesla was left bankrupt as a result. In 1905, he was forced to give up on his visionary project and eventually lost Wardenclyffe Tower to foreclosure. Tesla's mental state deteriorated. Beginning in 1933, he spent his final 10 years in the New Yorker Hotel. He was a consultant for Westinghouse Corporation, which also paid for his lodging. Despite living rent-free, he passed away in debt. Despite all the struggles he fought against his entire life and the accomplishments he achieved, Tesla's last message to his mother were rather grim and sorrowful. Part of his letter from 1892 reads, "My dear mother, I feel sad and dreary when I think of you. I don't know how, but I feel that you are not well. I wish I could be beside you now, mother, to bring you a glass of water. All these years that I'd spent in the service of mankind brought me nothing but insults and humiliation. This morning I woke up early, just before dawn, because I had heard something that I'd been hearing through my dreams for quite some time now. I heard this voice that sang some beautiful chant, lament, or even prayer in Moorish. When I came to my senses, I realized this voice came from everywhere, and it was impossible to determine whether it was from within. I am afraid of losing my mind. I cannot confide this to Dr. Lionel because I don't trust him anymore. I heard that he visited Mr. Edison 2 weeks ago." Another letter he wrote after his mother passed away just days after said, "This letter will never get to you, Mother. I don't know why I write it to you when you cannot read it. Rest in peace, Mother, and please forgive me for choosing paths that led me away from you. I cannot even be there for your funeral. I read the telegram that informed me of your death and despise people who weren't ready to understand 2 years ago that electricity can be transferred without wires. Now they have seen it, but they won't use it for centuries to come because someone burned my downtown laboratory to the ground with all my formulas and writings in it. They suspect of Mr. Edison. I became so indifferent I cannot even recognize myself. I would maybe feel sad before, but not anymore, because I am now sure that someone is keeping my patents under control, that my discovery isn't mine at all, and finally that mankind was not ready for it. I know that someone is overseeing everything and has a plan of their own, which is probably why I am indifferent. A maid at the New Yorker hotel entered room 3327 on January the 7th, 1943, and discovered the body of an 86-year-old man who had spent the last 10 years living there.
Man, that's really sad.
Tesla passed away broke and alone. Warm milk and crackers were his only food. He was devoted to feeding pigeons outside. One of history's greatest inventors vanished into obscurity and passed away without a penny in his pocket. One might think Tesla died penniless because he was severely unlucky at times. However, the actual reason is quite different.
No.
Tesla was not a capitalist, which is the main explanation.
Yeah, he just
Tesla
didn't know
made
how
choices that people with greater business
And
sense would
Edison.
not have made, like giving up his AC motor royalty payments. Money wasn't a concern for him. He was worried about the advancement of humanity through science. But Tesla succeeded in changing the world as he hoped. People are beginning to learn more about the man who served as the inspiration for Elon Musk's business, a man whose inventions would power the entire planet, in part because of Musk's business. Tesla is responsible for the way that modern society runs today. It was accurate for Tesla's mother to refer to him as a child of light.
A very unusual time period. The celebrated science fiction author and chemistry professor Isaac Asimov once catalogued a history of inventions and scientific discoveries throughout all of human history. While incomplete, his efforts still reveal something intriguing.
What are you gonna do?
Told you. We're gonna hang out, watch a movie, take some pictures. I'll pay you.
Someone wrote this song before, and I could tell you where it's from. Before 7362251, but my mind at ease.
A period or full stop is a punctuation mark used for several purposes, most often to mark the end of a sentence. This character by itself is basically meaningless. It conveys nothing. However, something as innocuous as a period mark can take on an entire new meaning on the internet. A blank slate which degenerates or trolls adopt for their own arbitrary reasons. Typing just a period into Google or YouTube's search bar will show countless cursed or nonsensical videos. On the surface, the videos appear to serve two purposes: scaring young children or making 30-year-old smooth-brained simpletons giggle. These videos contain inside internet jokes that are rarely funny, shit posts which are, well, shitty.
Hi everybody, it's me, Mickey Mouse. Say, do you want to come inside my clubhouse? While I'm waiting for your fucking response, are you just not gonna say anything, dumbass?
And dark videos that can be quite demented. Before you go searching for full stop punctuation, viewer discretion is advised. This exploit allows people to show gore or violent imagery in the thumbnail. These pictures include jump scares, maimings, beheadings, and sometimes sexually explicit content. The videos themselves do not show any violent acts, though if you look deep enough, you may find some that were not deleted by YouTube yet. Clicking on a full stop punctuation video is like playing a game of Russian roulette. Most of the time, the videos that don't get flagged by YouTube are not based in reality, such as claymation or animations engaging in brutal acts of violence. Other times, it's just some shitpost, but you can never be sure. Shitposts are the internet's way of posting deliberately low-quality images, texts, or videos on various forums. Shitposts are appropriately named shitposts because they are, in a sense, digital waste. And although Full Stop may be filled with these shitposts, on rare occasions the subject matter can get highly disturbing, depending on how deep you fall down the rabbit hole. There are claims that live murder and other heinous videos have been uploaded to YouTube using Full Stop as the title. Of course, in these situations, it's probably the opposite, with the thumbnails being innocent so that a child will click on it, only to be met with something gruesome. Whether or not these claims are true, they add mystery and morbid curiosity to the entire concept of full stop punctuation. You're just one click away from seeing it. And if you can't sleep because of this video, today's video sponsor has you covered. Which is why today's video is sponsored by Helix. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding customized to fit your needs, conveniently shipped in a box right to your doorstep. Everybody's different, and Helix knows that. That's why they designed a sleep quiz that helps match your unique body type to your sleeping preferences, so that you can get the perfect mattress just for you. If you guys sleep with a partner or even a pet, you can take the quiz together to find the best compromise for all of you. I tend to sleep on my side and stomach, and I prefer a medium mattress feel. I was matched with the Midnight Lux, and I've been sleeping on Helix mattresses for well over a year now, and ever since I moved, I had to upgrade from a queen to a king. Gone are the days of going to a mattress store to sit through a sales pitch, only to be sold an overpriced, uncomfortable mattress. In fact, your Helix comes rolled in a box directly to you. You don't even have to leave your house. And I actually had fun setting up my new Helix mattress. It took me just under 5 minutes to carry it up the stairs and watch my new bed come to life. If it makes you nervous to buy something that you haven't tried yet in person, Helix offers a 100-night sleep trial. This gives you a little bit over 3 months to completely fall in love with your new mattress. And if you don't, they will come and pick it up for you, no questions asked, and you will get a full refund. Best of all, every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. And trust me, if Sebastian likes it, you know it's quality. They offer flexible payment plans and financing options, so a great night's sleep is never that far away. I love my Helix, and I think you would too. If you're in the need for a new bed, check out Helix. Go to helixsleep.com/Philion to get up to $200 off plus 2 free pillows. And thank you to Helix for sponsoring this video. By design, it's not hard to find. Any child can purposely or accidentally search up a period mark. Little do they know, they're one booger swipe away from seeing Bugs Bunny's mangled corpse. In fact, they would probably have an easier time finding this content than forming a sentence in the search bar, let alone completing a full thought. It only takes one character, one dot, to bypass their algorithms and spread unsettling content. So where exactly did full stop punctuation come from? Unfortunately, the origins of full stop punctuation are completely unknown. Like most internet phenomena, it's difficult to pinpoint the first source. However, there are 3 precursors that led to full stop's emergence: the influx of children's content, ElsaGate, and YouTube's response. First, it's no secret that famous children's content has moved over to YouTube to take advantage of new platforms and grow their audiences. For a majority of media geared towards children, it's impossible to know where the information is coming from, who even made it, and what their intentions are, unless it is posted from verified channels or sources. Children's content has always amassed billions of views. There's no doubt certain freaks hop on the bandwagon to hijack original work or intellectual properties. Everything about these videos are exaggerated for the sole purpose of zapping a kid's attention span. And as you can see, there is a slippery slope of degeneracy when it comes to kids' content on YouTube. Parodies and satirical portrayals of kid shows are often altered and edited to fall under fair use. However, kids' content has one glaring problem. The audience pool is gargantuan, sure, but the niches are not. There are only so many topics children are interested in. Full stop punctuation allows people to replicate content within these niches and dominate the search results using limited keywords. This brings us to the second precursor, ElsaGate, which received extensive media coverage.
Stop.
If you're not familiar,
don't.
ElsaGate was a series of highly controversial videos aimed towards children, featuring the main characters Elsa from Frozen and other child-friendly characters like Spider-Man. H3H3 discussed a part of ElsaGate in his video titled, "What Are These Pranksters Doing?" He explains how Ethan Bradbury, his brother Mo, and other YouTube creators became a content house or factory of suggestive children's videos. Their videos featuring Spider-Man and Elsa accumulated almost 100 million views in only a month, which is astronomical. Unless this is a throwback picture, Ethan Bradbury still makes these videos. After all, he considers it work, so he must be getting paid. Unfortunately for some, these videos could leave a permanent scar on those close to them. A Reddit post, presumably made by a worried mother, states that videos like this traumatized her 4-year-old with autism. Even after she removed YouTube from the picture, her son would have meltdowns and, quote, obsessively repeat the strange, distorted screeching and screaming sounds heard in many of the videos. The last precursor can be seen as YouTube's response because their inaction led to individuals exploiting SEO or search engine optimization. YouTube announced that, quote, creators would no longer be able to monetize videos that made inappropriate use of family-friendly characters. This didn't stop everyone, and videos still slip through the cracks of YouTube's moderation system. Enter Full Stop. Full Stop would evolve using dark nostalgia, cursed images, and found footage as the basis of its intrigue. Dark nostalgia can be defined as taking something familiar and warping it into something eerily adjacent yet off, similar to the uncanny valley, which most definitely elicits an emotional response. However, full stop punctuation is not just limited to this infamous period mark. There are other symbols and letters that can lead you to even worse content. The symbols include a slash, a comma, spelling full stop, or full stop punctuation. Taking it one step further, YouTuber ChillFuel explains the string and how emojis are being used as well. Interestingly enough, ChillFuel points out that a majority of these posts are sourced from Central America with Spanish voiceovers. More recently, Some Ordinary Gamers covered full stop content by talking about a search engine maneuver where you type the symbol OO or pretty much any other Unicode symbol into the search bar, which yields similar cursed results. In the past, Mudahar also discussed the practice of trolls or shitposters using Arabic in titles to take over search results with the associated phrases. These obscure strings of characters make it possible for members of online forums and message boards to abuse this exploit in YouTube search. Some people just like being edgy for the sake of being edgy. Whether it be the depths of 4chan or Reddit, it's obvious this exists to troll those who aren't in the loop. The fact remains, all of these different search queries contain dozens of videos with seriously questionable thumbnails. Here's a video of what looks like a woman or man on their knees. If I had to guess, it looks like a cartel video. Then you have a literal cartel execution as a thumbnail. You have self-deletion, and you have sexual imagery. The thumbnails themselves are a problem, but are there any videos featuring content with this level of brutality? Yes, there are. And after watching hundreds of these videos, there are definitely violations of YouTube's guidelines. I wouldn't even be allowed to explain what I found.
Shit.
So, what is the point of all of this? Do some people really just have nothing better to do? I have a hard time believing infrequent shitposts and cheap scares can rake in serious amounts of AdSense. In fact, I don't even think there are main creators in this pseudo niche. Almost all of these channels are anonymous, with random profile pictures posting without a rhyme or reason. There are no through lines, no structure, and no intention. It's just aimless content. Sometimes, if they're lucky, their full stop punctuation videos will gain a few thousand, possibly a million views. These popular videos will then just sit at the top of these untapped title and search tag rankings. With such risky subject matter and guideline violating thumbnails, these channels would never see the light of day if they received actual attention. It is possible that there are some channels or videos out there profiting off of shitposting or worse. A more probable explanation would be that there's just too many bored people with weird art fetishes lurking around the internet making their way to YouTube. The perceived sinister nature of full stop punctuation is contrasted by the lackluster degeneracy needed to make this content. After all, this is why it may seem full stop punctuation on YouTube is bombarded with shitposts. Everywhere you look, you'll find low effort creepypasta memes. The goal is not to make a well-produced piece of art, rather the opposite. In every way, full stop punctuation is the proverbial gutter of YouTube, designed to scare kids or unsettle adults. Most of you watching this will search up full stop punctuation the second this video is over,
Nah.
or maybe you've already seen it. For everyone who
Nah, I'm
hasn't,
good.
I strongly urge you to reconsider, unless you think you are strong enough to see some deeply disturbing imagery. You will most likely not even realize you've been lost in the sauce before it's too late, eventually stumbling upon not just jokes, shitposts, or memes, but seriously unpleasant footage.
I ain't trying to
Violence,
accidentally
crime,
watch a
death,
beheading.
and sexual imagery can all
Nah,
be found
no, I'm good.
without even typing a full word. It's hard to tell if YouTube is aware of the problem to its fullest extent. With most of full stop punctuation falling in lines with YouTube's terms, this isn't going away anytime soon. After all, how do you stop millions of anonymously created videos from flooding YouTube's underground cesspool? That being said, I'm gonna go bleach all 3 of my eyes.
What?
Next.
Let's see here. Next, we've got another new member, judging by the little sprout on here. It's a WoW lore question, they say.
All right.
If you could add side stories in Shadowlands, which decreased characters from the game or books, would you want to see? He feels like the biggest missed opportunity was Broxigar reuniting with Tyrande. His line of thought thinking that Broxar's spirit would be in Ardenweld. I want to just add something to that last part.
Yeah.
The last moment we see of Broxar in the War of the Ancients trilogy,
Yeah.
the dude jumps through the rift and actually wounds Sargeras as the rift is closing on him.
Yeah.
I hate to say this to burst his bubble, but if anything, Broxgar's soul is stuck wherever the hell Sargeras was at that time, if not being like a tormented plaything of Sargeras's.
Yeah, I would say Broxigar is probably not an Ardenweald. Broxigar is most likely in the Twisting Nether. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would
don't know who
argue
Broxar
most
is.
likely.
He can't. It's fucking Marubra Boys Deadpool. What's up, bruh? What?
This fucking question's right up my ass.
Oh, fucking night. You feel like an actual superhero now.
I feel like a little slut.
Oh, fuck, mate.
Back from the cross spray on top dog.
Oh, top dog, huh? Oh,
See, look,
fuck.
look at him grinding the fucking pit on the bike. Stop getting my dick!
He can't. It's fucking Marubra Boys Deadpool.
What the fuck?
This video was brought to you by Display.
Oh, this one's gonna be good.
Guys, that's it!
It's not over yet.
Ah! Someone give this guy whatever he needs to make a movie. Cause goddamn. all this shit's lit, son.
I haven't felt this way since I last fought with Hashirama. Can you still dance? Any other techniques? Show me!
I'm sorry, Lee.
Oh god.
It's been my privilege.
Get open the 9 gates, son!
You're gonna be just fine.
Yeah!
Never forget. The power of youth.
9 gates, bitch! The fuck you up!
My father was right. Guys. A monster.
Of all my opponents, you are the most extraordinary. There is no one that surpasses you at Taijutsu. I, Madara Uchiha, declare you the strongest!
Ah! Oh, he's so awesome! Ah!
Guys, sensei!
Lee, over there.
Yeah, you're not doing so hot there, buddy.
You almost killed me, you bastard. To show you my gratitude, I'll save you the dishonor of turning into dust.
Naruto!
How did you? No. What did Obito do?
Thank you for protecting us, Guy Sensei. Now it's our turn to protect you. Kurama!
I like that there's scars on his face, and not just like, you know, drawn on with. That's fucking cool. Cliffhanger!
Hey guys, before you go, I want to talk about Rock Lee versus Gaara. That's gonna be our next big fight. The Indiegogo campaign
Rock
is
Lee
now
versus
live.
Gaara is
Before
gonna
I
be
do that, I
fucking
huge shout out to our
tits.
sponsor, Displate.
That's the best fight in the whole series.
Metallic poster company, and they use magnets to hang everything on the wall, so you can easily take a poster off and put it back on in like 2 seconds. So you can just rotate. So you can buy a bunch of posters. You don't have to worry about your wall space. Maybe this week is Star Wars themed. Maybe next week is Naruto themed. Maybe the following week is Bleach themed. Whatever. You can do it. For each poster, they actually plant a tree, which I love so much. So if you guys buy a poster, you're actually helping out the environment. Please click the link down below. You'll get 25% off. If you buy 3 posters, you get 29% off. Huge discount going on. Go grab some awesome posters, hang them on your wall, switch them out, have fun. All right, guys. Now, Rock Lee versus Gaara. This is like the fight that changed everyone's life. Rock Lee's story is so inspirational to, I think, a lot of people who watch Naruto, and I want to do it justice. So we launched an Indiegogo campaign. We're asking for $150,000, which I know seems like a lot, but that's only 15% of my subscribers. So if 15% of you gave $1, Rock Lee vs. Gaara is happening. If you don't have $1, I totally understand. It's hard times for everyone. Please share the Indiegogo campaign. Find Naruto Facebook groups, Reddit, Naruto pages. I'm not good at Reddit, so I need you guys. I need your help. So if you can't donate, please, if you can, just take some time out of your day. If you can find some Reddit pages to post it on, or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is that's like has a Naruto community, because I know people want to see this fight. I want to see this fight.
You're fucking right.
I'm
I
so
want to see
excited
this
to do Rock Lee
fight.
versus Gaara. I've always said since I started Reanime, that's my mic drop. That's my moment of like, okay, like I don't need to do anything else. I can die happy. I did what I set out to do in life. Rock Lee versus Gaara is that big.
No, you can't stop, man. You gotta make more.
The Indiegogo campaign, that would be huge. I'm gonna drop a link
Remake
down below.
them
Go check it
even.
out. Thank you guys
Remake
so
your
much.
fucking.
Bye.
Remake your first ones, you know? I love this guy. Reanimate. Go subscribe. I go post this to a few people.
It all started in the palace of the king of everything, Zeno-sama. The king was bored of supervising all the deities in the universe. Dai Shenkan told Zeno-sama that it is necessary for him to have a successor because...
What are we celebrating? Her enormous... enormous fake ass?
Yes! God damn it, Megan, yes! Megyn Kelly said she has no sympathy for Kim Kardashian and her enormous fake ass. That's a quote. After the TV star was booed by fans at LA Rams game on her enormous ass. That's by Yo. Kelly lashed out at Kardashian on her SiriusXM podcast on Tuesday, saying, first of all, why would you have a podcast? Don't you have a real radio show? She must. She must do this on the side. That's why, probably. They make money both ways. Saying that her narcissism and public persona were having a detrimental effect on American society. And you know what? And I'm trying to like Kim Kardashian. I really believe like she's got a good heart, but she grew up in LA around a mother who's fucking soulless. And I don't think they're bad people, but they really, I think the same thing, not about the ass, but I go, I still don't know what she does. She sells shit, I understand. You know? I mean, she puts her name on a fucking pair of boots and everything, but why? Why then? Why are they, what? She says, I do not feel empathetic toward Kim Kardashian, Kelly said during her latest episode of the Megyn Kelly Show. Let's listen to Megyn just being honest.
Every time I open my paper, there she is again.
Yep.
And I find
Like,
it deeply alarming.
I don't care.
What are we celebrating? Her enormous fake ass?
Yes! God damn it, Megan, yes! And you know all the black people that saw this are going, yeah, you know why she's saying that? She get that flat white ass. Get my full episode, exclusive encore shows each day, direct access to contact me, and much more at patreon.com/The Nick DiPaolo Show.
I was adopted when I was 4 by my Christopher Kane, who's my dad. He's my father. He's not my biological father, but he raised me. So I was adopted by him.
Number 10, Thomas Scully Powers. In the middle of a live Alcoholics Anonymous Zoom meeting on May the 21st of 2020, 32-year-old Thomas Scully Powers suddenly began stabbing his father, Dwight, repeatedly while in the nude. The other 20 members of the meeting frantically began calling 911, but it reportedly took them several minutes to establish the Powers' exact location. In the meantime, Scully Powers stabbed his father over 15 times, killing him in the process. It was eventually determined that the incident was unfolding at Dwight's apartment in Amityville, New Jersey. When police arrived at the home, Scully Powers rushed to the second floor and jumped out the window. Inside, officers discovered 72-year-old Dwight's nearly decapitated body, as well as evidence that his son had used a mop and bucket to try and clean up the crime scene. Scully Powers was ultimately apprehended a mile away from the apartment, where law enforcement found him trying to wash his father's blood off of his body with several bottles of Dr. Pepper, which he'd stolen from a nearby deli. The young man allegedly confessed to the crime during police questioning and was consequently charged with murder, for which he faced a possible prison sentence of 25 years to life.
Those astronaut t-shirts look cool as fuck. I don't know about those other two. Ooh, edgy boy.
Number 9, Busby. On January the 14th of 2022, a Canadian video game streamer known as Busby was recording a session of Apex Legends when police officers suddenly barged into his room. The Twitch streamer had been struggling with the game and had loudly requested help from his teammates multiple times. His screams concerned the neighbors, who immediately contacted the authorities, believing there to be someone in urgent distress. Police officers made their way into the apartment as they too heard the agonized yelling and were captured on Busby's webcam, approaching him from behind. Startled, the young Toronto resident jumped up as one of the officers placed a hand on his shoulder.
Man, can you imagine
The gamer
that?
apologized for creating a disturbance and assured the officers that he required no
You
assistance.
can imagine that you're in your house,
Number 8.
just
Belle Grace.
glued
In
to the screen.
2022, British
Got your
OnlyFans
head
model
caps.
Belle Grace saved one of
And
her
then
regular
arm
subscribers'
reaches-
life after noticing a growth
arm
on
reaches
his
on your shoulder.
testicles, which turned out to be cancer. 27-year-old Belle, who worked as a carer for autistic children and adults before the COVID pandemic, had begun offering her erotic services over the online platform in 2020.
Yeah, 'cause of
Over
course
the
she
course
did.
of several intimate video calls with Grace, the client in question, whose name wasn't disclosed to the public, revealed that his genitals had been getting increasingly bigger. The young woman realized that one of the man's testicles was roughly 4 times larger than the other and encouraged him to book an appointment with
Jesus.
a doctor. Although the man was embarrassed by the abnormality and initially hesitant to seek professional help, he eventually heeded the model's advice. He subsequently told Grace that the doctor had discovered an aggressive form of testicular cancer. The
Wow.
prompt diagnosis allowed the man to undergo successful surgery and become cancer-free. Number 7. Donald J. Williams. On the morning of August the 11th,
All right, bathroom break.
10th of 2020, 27-year-old Donald J. Williams gunned down his ex-girlfriend, Maribel Rosada Martinez, as was captured on her daughter's webcam. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, schools in Martin County, Florida, where 32-year-old Rosado Martinez lived with her 6 children, were closed. Classes thus took place over Zoom, while Rosado Martinez's 10-year-old daughter was online for her morning lesson. Loud screaming and profanity prompted her teacher to mute the meeting's audio. The young girl then covered her ears before the screen abruptly went black. It later emerged that Williams had broken into the house and opened fire on his ex, whom he'd been separated from for over a year and a half at the time. One of the bullets missed Rosado Martinez and shattered her daughter's laptop screen instead, which accounted for the blackout. Fortunately, none of the 6 children suffered any injuries during the shooting. Williams fled the scene before being tracked down and arrested about 40 minutes later. A Martin County grand jury indicted the man on capital murder charges in February of 2021. As of the case's latest developments, the legal proceedings were still ongoing. Number 6. Nicola Madden. On January the 11th of 2022, Nicola Madden died suddenly during a work Zoom meeting attended by her daughter and several colleagues. Subsequent reports indicated that Madden had suffered a massive heart attack at her home in Waterloo, Liverpool. The incident, which happened so suddenly that emergency services couldn't arrive in time to render her aid, reportedly took place the day after her 43rd birthday. Madden's daughter immediately called her father, Stuart McDougal, who in turn dialed 999. McDougal, who'd been amicably separated from Madden at the time of her death, set up a GoFundMe page to help pay for the resulting funeral expenses, managing to raise over $6,000 within the first 24 hours. Number 5. Micah J22. A female TikTok user identified only as Micah J22 sparked furious online debate after posting several videos in which she explained why she'd been fired from her home office job. In July of 2022, the woman told her followers that she'd used her laptop to work online but was locked out of the system after her employers had caught her cooking while on the clock. Her contract reportedly stipulated that she was not allowed to leave her desk during work hours and also mandated that the webcam remain activated to allow her activity to be monitored. Micah J22 complained about how her employers dealt with the situation, as they'd first told her she was fired before relenting slightly and opting to suspend her instead. Then they restored their original decision and fired her once again. Several viewers posted comments in support of the woman. Many were quick to point out the apparent hypocrisy of the fact that an employee working at an office could take a snack break, but those working from home weren't afforded similar privileges. Number 4. Alexandria Mora. Alexandria Mora was arrested by the police in Ontario, Canada, after live streaming internet acts from a public library. At the age of 21, Mora, known online as Lil Secret, reportedly published over 50 videos beginning in the fall of 2014, all of which were recorded at either the Riverside or Fontainebleau branches of the library.
Wow.
During the salacious recordings, she exposed her genitals on camera and even employed certain adult toys on a number of occasions.
Didn't get
on December
caught.
the 29th of 2014,
50 times.
Mora was reportedly caught in the act by a library worker who demanded she leave the premises. The discovery prompted an official police investigation, but Mora wasn't arrested until March the 6th, when she went to the authorities of her own accord. She pleaded guilty to her criminal charges during a pre-trial hearing and was later sentenced to a year of probation plus
What'd I
a
do?
$250 fine. She was also forbidden from accessing local public libraries and required to provide a sample of her DNA to the Canadian Registry.
Gross.
Number 3. Jason Marshall.
Oh,
On
leaving
January
your
the
DNA
7th
everywhere.
of 2013,
Gross.
UK man Jason Marshall murdered his lover, 58-year-old Peter Fasoli, before setting his apartment on fire and fleeing the country. The entire episode was recorded on camera, beginning with an intimate encounter between Fasoli and Marshall, who was in his 20s at the time, before the situation quickly escalated. Marshall, posing as a policeman, began physically overpowering Fasoli and threatening him with a knife. The latter was then dragged out of the camera's purview as Marshall proceeded to fatally strangle him. Audio recording revealed that the man then spread a flammable liquid around the apartment and set it ablaze to destroy evidence of the crime. Marshall used the victim's credit cards to purchase a plane ticket to Italy. He also began sending concerned messages to Fasoli in an attempt to divert suspicions away from him. The house fire was initially ruled an accident, but in November of 2014, webcam footage of the grisly incident surfaced when the victim's nephew decided to research his family history. After reviewing his late uncle's hard drive, which had been recovered from the flames, the nephew came upon a 7-hour recording that included the murder itself and immediately contacted the authorities. Investigators subsequently learned that Marshall had been imprisoned in Italy since July the 9th of 2014, serving a 16-year sentence for the murder of 67-year-old Vincenzo Lale in Rome. For Fasoli's killing, Marshall was extradited to the UK and sentenced to life, with a minimum of 39 years before he could be considered for parole. Number 2. Brian Dixon. On April the 15th of 2011, 32-year-old Brian Dixon gained access to a Chinese exchange student's apartment while she chatted with her ex-boyfriend via webcam. 23-year-old Quine Liu, a foreign student enrolled at New York University, was strangled by the intruder as her ex, Xian Meng, watched in helpless horror. Liu was then dragged away from the camera and Dixon assaulted her. Meng eventually saw an unclothed Dixon appear on Liu's camera before the screen abruptly shut off. By the time the police arrived at the scene, Liu was already dead. Although the ensuing autopsy's results were inconclusive, medical examiners listed mechanical asphyxiation as the most likely cause of death. DNA found on the victim's body was linked to Dixon, who had subsequently emerged had a documented history of violence. On April the 7th of 2014, Dixon was found guilty of murder and consequently sentenced to 25 years to life behind bars. Number 1. Joshua Kaufman. California resident Joshua Kaufman used his MacBook's remote camera capabilities to aid the police in capturing a thief who'd broken into his Oakland apartment and stolen the device. Kaufman, who worked as a designer, reported the incident to the authorities in March of 2011, listing his laptop, Kindle, and jewelry as the items stolen by the intruder. Dissatisfied with the police response, Kaufman decided to use a security app called Hidden to try and locate the computer himself. The app allowed him to track his device as well as use the webcam to take pictures when it was activated. It took a few days for the thief to turn on the laptop, but when he did, Kaufman immediately contacted the police, sending them pictures of the man as well as personal information he'd typed, including his work email address and Facebook account. Officers initially disregarded the creatively obtained evidence, prompting Kaufman to post the photos online. He immediately garnered the attention of the press, at which point the police took action. The thief was ultimately identified as 27-year-old Muthana Aldabashi. The latter was arrested at his Oakland home, allowing Kaufman and his laptop to be reunited at long last. Thanks for watching. Would you rather never be able to turn off your webcam or have your cell phone usage restricted to 1 hour per day? Let us know in the comments section below.
Oh, I can have a camera on me all day, obviously.
To understand the overwhelming hatred for Planet Fitness, you first need to understand their business model. Planet Fitness was created with the goal of having a non-competitive culture, opposite to that of something like Gold's Gym, where bodybuilding is glorified. Everything in Planet Fitness is catered towards the less experienced beginner, and on the surface this makes Planet Fitness look like a fairly positive place. However, as we look into the methods they use to achieve this beginner-friendly image, you'll start to understand why their approach also receives an insane amount of backlash. This image posted to to the Gym Memes Facebook page shows a note attached to a Planet Fitness leg press reading, "We do not cater to bodybuilders or heavyweight lifters. Please help us keep our non-intimidating environment by loading only 4 weight plates on each side," with this note showing that not only are Planet Fitness trying to cater to beginners, but they're also trying to repel anyone who might consider themselves an intermediate or advanced lifter. In addition to requesting that members only use a maximum of 4 plates on the leg press, Planet Fitness gyms also feature no squat rack, no deadlifting area, and no bench press, with the Smith machine being the only alternative for those looking to perform these exercises, or if you're desperate enough, you can evidently use the machine where you'd usually do dips. The gym requests that members refrain from doing T-rows, overhead presses, clean and jerks, deadlifts, and even requests that members don't do supersets, which is achieved in part by maxing out their dumbbells at 75 pounds or 34 kilos, with this number being an even lower 60 pounds or 27 kilos, depending on which franchise you go to. As an alternative, Planet Fitness gyms are instead filled with excessive amounts of cardio equipment, with the possible goal of encouraging their members to avoid the weight training area altogether. So basically, Planet Fitness doesn't allow you to actually get stronger. The only gym that doesn't like people going to the gym. I went to Planet Fitness as a joke with one of my friends because your first day you get free to test out, and I was deadlifting 360 on the Smith machine, and I put pads underneath the weight so it wouldn't slam, and the manager kicked me out because I was noticeably stronger than everyone else and creating an intimidating atmosphere. Planet Fitness having a problem with people who are noticeably stronger than everyone else is something that can also be observed in countless different YouTube videos.
I wasn't there a week, and I was told, you intimidate the other patrons, and we don't like your type here.
For example, 4 times world's strongest man Brian Shaw was kicked out of Planet Fitness whilst making a fairly relaxed YouTube video, with this piece of content pairing another titled "Planet Fitness cancelled my membership after 500-pound bench press," cementing their dislike for those who go to the gym to push their limits. As an extra measure to avoid intense exercise, Planet Fitness also has their notorious lunk alarm, which can be triggered by Planet Fitness staff anytime they see a member working out too intensely. Lunk alarm is actually pretty goated. If it goes off, it means that you're making gains, and the staff is just making sure that everyone knows that you're built different. But while this person managed to frame the lunk alarm as beneficial, on a wider scale the concept has been criticized pretty damn heavily. The alarms are set to trigger when they detect muscles actually contracting. Planet Fitness, you're being too loud. Also Planet Fitness uses tornado warning sign to replace the noise of normal gym activities. This alarm is infinitely more disruptive than the clanking of weights or grunts of strained lifters. It's also startling, which can cause severe injuries to anyone under load, and in addition to simply having the lunk alarm, there are countless comments describing ridiculous situations during which the alarm has been sounded. I accidentally dropped my drink off the treadmill and the lunk alarm went off. I got kicked out. The lunk alarm goes off if you accidentally drop a pen.
Alright guys, I'm at Planet Fitness. Watch how ridiculous this is. Really?
But to be fair to Planet Fitness, both gym members and the staff themselves have often stated in videos and comments that the lunk alarm is rarely ever used.
Yes, there is a lunk alarm. However, I've never even heard it go off.
I've worked at 2 different Planet Fitness locations, and we never once sounded the lunk alarm on people for anything. I think it depends on the individual locations, whether they're franchise or not. We were told that we weren't allowed to use it, that it was more of a novelty item. I went to Planet Fitness for 6 months and never heard the alarm. I think it mostly depends on the manager you get. Treat the alarm as a sign of a good or bad manager. If that alarm sounds, it's time to find another gym. As a person who works at Planet Fitness,
play
we
as
never
soon
set
as
the lunk alarm
a
off.
big guy walked in. Like,
we don't pull it because there's no purpose to, like, you know. On the flip side too, we like to have fun. Sometimes as soon as we just hear anything, boom, we just pull it. And it's different when your manager's there and when your manager's not.
Yeah, I would do it to joke around and
as
shit.
somewhat of a meme, drinking out of a gallon water jug as well as their dress code are both something that Planet Fitness does take extremely seriously. In the previously mentioned video where Brian Shaw gets kicked out of Planet Fitness, a sign can be seen which reads, "Dress code. To maintain our no gym-timidation environment, please no jeans, boots, sandals, or string tank tops, thank you." Other banned items of clothing include do-rags, skull caps, bandanas, and judging from internet anecdotes, this dress code is definitely the next reason behind why the gym is so hated. I used to have a Planet Fitness membership, and on multiple occasions they asked me to go home and change my gym outfit to something less revealing. I was wearing a tank top and shorts, lol, or they would give me one of those hideous white t-shirts with their logo to cover myself up. In this video titled Planet Fitness Fail Why I Cancelled My Membership, the girl explains that she was confronted by staff for simply having a 1-gallon water bottle.
One of the workers did a beeline
line for me one time while I'm working out, interrupts my set, and is like, oh, you can't have that gallon of water here.
Whilst another member was denied entry altogether because his water bottle was too big to fit in their designated cup holder.
So I'm in here at Planet Fitness with this bottle, and Miss Ashley does not want to allow me to work out because she says my bottle will not fit into her cup holder.
Imagine asking someone to leave because they're drinking water and being healthy. For being a judgment-free facility, all they do is judge, and this is why their approach is so controversial. The judgment-free slogan is targeted toward their main demographic, beginners, but in order to achieve this branding, they have to be judgmental toward anyone who isn't a beginner, making their approach incredibly hypocritical.
So, no judgment, except you get to judge.
That's right.
We won't judge or criticize you unless you're someone in shape in a gym. No judgment zone unless we are the ones judging. Planet Fitness, no judging. Also, Planet Fitness judges anyone who actually wants to work out properly, with this criticism also being bundled in with more sinister theories about why Planet Fitness fights tooth and nail in order to maintain their judgment-free branding. If you think about it, the entire concept is an incredible idea. By keeping the judgmental people away, you only attract the insecure who pity themselves. At the same time, you keep away any serious lifter who could show what is possible, therefore reassuring these half-heartedly gym goers that what they're doing is absolute peak performance. The picture of roid-raging testosterone monsters is planted into people's heads, thus binding them even stronger to that gym. Financially speaking, it's a masterpiece. Perhaps this is a bit of a conspiracy theory, but it's also possible that it's in Planet Fitness's best interest to keep their members out of shape so they'll continue to pay for membership. On the first Monday of every month, Planet Fitness hosts Pizza Monday, during which free pizza is given to members before, after, and even during their workouts. Then similarly, on the second Tuesday of every month, Planet Fitness has Bagel Tuesday, following the same concept but with free bagels. Planet Fitness makes a pretty decent argument for why they consider this to be acceptable, stating on their website, it's okay to indulge in a treat every once in a while. The truth is, one slice of pizza isn't going to destroy a month's worth of work in the gym, which is why Planet Fitness Pizza Monday and Bagel Tuesday only roll around once a month. Moderation is key, yet as you might expect, these free junk food days have come with even more public backlash.
I'm doing like squats and deadlifts, and the smell of like 100 pizzas is coming at me. It's just not right, Planet Fitness. Come on. The pizza being in the gym, it's just not right. They don't go together. Offer free salads, offer free, I don't know, protein shakes. But pizza? No, Planet Fitness.
Pizza at a gym is like having AA meetings in a bar. Nothing like getting a good workout than enjoying a high-calorie pizza afterwards, #gains. It's actually a genius tactic. You go there to lose weight and get in shape, they give you pizza, you gain some weight, you have to go back to lose that weight. Keeps you in that gain weight, lose weight cycle. Planet Fitness not actually wanting their members to lose weight might also explain some of the other things that you can get with your membership, such as their total body enhancement chamber, which, sounding like a pile of infomercial garbage, apparently helps work muscle groups, firms and tones the body, as well as helps reduce stress. However, these no-effort scam machines just reiterate the type of customers that Planet Fitness are generally going after. Their cheap $10 per month memberships are seemingly designed to appeal to people who will go once or twice, never turn up again, but also never cancel their membership because, well, nobody can be bothered to go into the gym to cancel it when it's only 33 cents per day.
What do I have to do to cancel this membership? Oh, you have to come into the location or else write a letter. The gym where I stay is 45 minutes away from where I live at. Is those the only two ways? Yes, those are the only two ways. You have to physically come in to cancel your membership.
And judging from some of the videos on YouTube, it seems like this strategy is incredibly effective.
I've given them $10 a month for 4 years, and I've never stepped foot inside the gym.
Just to add a cherry on top of the cake, if you do want to cancel your membership, there are then massive fees involved, as well as other small charges that force you to spend more money before you officially leave.
Make sure you don't break your contract, because if you break your contract, then it's $150 to get out of it. I see that I still got a payment, a charge from Planet Fitness.
Yeah, that's how Adobe got me.
Is discontinued. Trying to get rid of gym memberships is basically trying to get rid of a boyfriend that won't go away or a nasty rash.
Their business model is to sell memberships to people.
I can't wait till this contract over.
Think about it. There can be 10,000 members for that one gym, but if everyone goes, then the place would be so busy it would either violate legal codes or be so packed you wouldn't be able to work out because everyone is using something. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. Businesses are created to make money, and with over 2,000 gyms across the globe, Planet Fitness has been extremely successful, yet unfortunately they've done so whilst picking up the nickname Planet Fatness in the process.
Emoji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ah, yeah, it was real fucking funny. Jackass.
You f***ed up! Get the f*** out of here now!
Fucking asshole. What an asshole, man.
Some people say either you're
So here's the thing. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about the, and most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? So when I think about what the experience should be for our children of going to school on the school bus, I think about the fact that it should be about maximizing that experience for them.
Wow. That's fucking retarded.
Oh my god.
Okay.
God,
Two
yeah.
simple letters combined together to make one of them.
Hello? What the hell you want, man? What? What do you want? Is this Walmart? Like, do I got the wrong number? Nigga, yes, it's Walmart, bro. You went to the website, you clicked on a damn number, and you called us, right? That's Walmart. Bro, what's up? What's good with you? Nothing, bro. What you calling me for? What am I calling for, bro? I need help with my order. What you order? I got a PS5 and a monitor. You not getting that shit. What? You not getting your PS5? Hold on, bro. Let me talk to your manager real quick, man. Let me talk to your manager. Okay. You want the manager like he gonna fire me or something? Like, what he gonna do? But I got you though. You can talk to the manager if you want, man. I got you. Stupid. Hello? Hello? Is this the manager at Walmart? Yeah, this me. What can I help you with? Hey man, so I ordered a PlayStation 5, right? And your employees basically said I'm not getting it. Like, they trying to keep it. And? Listen, I don't know what you want me to do. You order from Walmart, this is what you should have expected. You calling me like I'm supposed to do something. Like, bro, this is over. Your PlayStation is gone, bro. Like, sayonara, goodbye is gone, bro. What you want me to do? Put me on the phone with corporate, bro. Put me on the phone with corporate. Man, what the fuck corporate gonna do? What they gonna do, man? I'll smack the shit out of corporate. Listen, we got your PS5, bro. They passing that shit around. Passing that shit around like Halloween candy, man. You trying to go get your PlayStation 5, come over here and come pay some big money for your PlayStation 5. $500 on the table. And best believe we strapped up, man. Don't come over here empty-handed, man. If you don't want no smoke, stay out of the way, man. Don't order from Walmart ever again. Go to Target or something, man. So.
One of the games that I'm really looking forward to is the Callisto Protocol. It looks really cool. Probably one of the most anticipated games of the year, I think. I've heard nothing but good things. It looks awesome. Been a while since we've gotten a new kind of survival horror game like this with a lot of love and care. So I have high hopes for this game. I think it looks amazing. However, there's one country that's not going to get the game, and it's kind of surprising to see. We talk about Japan quite a bit over on this channel and how they defy Western censorship, which is a big thing. But this is a little bit strange. This game is not going to come out in Japan. Apparently, they wanted censorship, which I know is strange. You just don't hear about this very often because usually it's the other way around. But I guess this game is too violent for Japan. I want to thank Dreamer Free here, Eternal Arcader, for tagging me about this on Twitter. Otherwise, I would have
Too
missed
violent
this
for
story.
Japan, huh?
But this is crazy.
Okay, so what's this game?
I know it's hard to
now I'm
believe,
interested.
But Japan does have censorship too. And this is too violent for them. I've actually seen some of their censorship. Dragon Ball Kai, as much as I like it, at least the actual version, not the Nicktoons version that's overly censored. I'm talking about the Japanese version. It does still have
Kai
some
went to
censorship. They
Nicktoons?
actually toned
That
down the
sucks.
blood a little bit and a few other things. So this type of censorship has been coming to Japan for a minute. I'm just shocked to see them die on the hill for this. Now, the developer of the Callisto Protocol should be commended here for actually refusing to censor the game. So the game's just not even going to release there. They're going to turn down money and say, you know what? This does not reflect our vision for this game. We refuse to censor it. So we're just not going to release the game there. Now, here's the good side of this for those in Japan that want to play it. It's very easy to just change, especially if you're buying this on a console. It's very easy to just change your settings or make a profile for an American account, and you can then get an American gift card, PSN or Xbox gift card, and buy it through that network. So there are loopholes, like you could always import the game, stuff like that. So if people really want to play it, they can still play it, and this developer will still get their money. But the easier, direct way to do it would be to release the game in Japan, and they refuse to do it. They are refusing to bend the knee, and that's something you just don't see very much anymore, because usually everybody will bend the knee and make changes for that dollar, and they're not doing it, and I respect it. This is Striking Distance Studios, by the way. So let's take a look at what they're saying here. We're well aware that the Callisto Protocol is set to revel in death, with there being multiple violent ways of meeting your demise. The game from Striking Distance Studios looks to recapture the essence of Dead Space and truly terrifies players, that's for certain. Yeah, I love the first Dead Space. It's an amazing game. If you've never played it, you should. The funny thing here is the Dead Space remake, it looks like it's trying to copy the things this game is doing. I'm looking forward to the Dead Space remake, too. I'm hoping that it's good. But I would highly recommend playing the original. It's a fantastic game, and it still, I think, still holds up. I'm not a fan of the sequels. I think they got a little too more action-oriented. The first one, though, I think is one of the best horror video games ever made. It appears that not everyone who may be anticipating the title will be able to jump in as of December 2nd, with the Callisto Protocol's release being canceled in Japan. The decision was announced via the official Japanese Twitter account for the Callisto Protocol, embedded below. Fortunately, PC Gamer have translated the tweet, which reads, "It was decided that modifying the game to obtain a rating would not provide the experience players expected. The CERO rating could not be obtained." The CERO is Japan's certification board, and for the Callisto Protocol to receive a rating and be released in Japan, developer Striking Distance Studios and publisher Krafton would have to make some changes to the content of the game. I really respect that. I do. I respect that they're not going to change it, that they're sticking to their vision. And a lot of people are out there bowing to censorship. I don't like censorship, and I think that, you know, it's nice that they are having some integrity here. And it's disappointing to see this on the flip side, to see Japan ban stuff, because Japan makes some really awesome shit. Check out Chainsaw Man if you haven't. That is an awesome show. It's also a manga, but Chainsaw Man, brutally violent in some cases. Awesome show. There's a lot of brutally violent stuff in anime and manga. I mean, even like Resident Evil can be brutal at times. They note here, there's no telling what element of the game has pushed it over the line of CERO's certification requirements. But considering the title will be packed with murder desserts, and they put that in quotations, and the developer has found itself taking inspiration from real-life examples of horror and gore, this isn't all that surprising. When did Japan get so prude with violence? I don't get it. Put a mature rating on it and let them play it.
I feel good.
It's
like
wild.
massages.
Not a fan of censorship. I'm a fan of ratings. I'm a fan of rating something, letting people know what's in it. Okay, this game has this and that. It's not for me. I think that that's the way you handle things like this. Okay, well, this has got this in it. I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to go ahead and put it down. If you want to play it, though, that's cool. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be, well, we don't like this based on our values, so you don't get to play it. We're just going to ban it for everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
What
I think
we say
age-appropriate
goes.
ratings apply to things.
You
If something is made for
banned.
adults, make it for adults only. Something's all ages, make it for all ages. I think that works, and it's a fine.
Well, Geralt, what horrors will you be subjecting us to today?
We're going on a witch hunt.
I need to play this game again.
We're going on a witch hunt. We're
Should
going
play the whole
to get
series
the
for
big
the
one.
channel.
Hark a glorious day. We're not scared. Uh-oh. A bog. A thick, oozy bog. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We've got to go through it.
Squelch, splash, squelch, splash.
Squelch, splash, squelch, splash. We're going on a witch hunt. We're going to get the big one. We're not scared.
We can't go over them. We can't go under them.
We've got to go through them.
Slash, bash, slash, bash.
Slash, bash, slash, bash. We're going on a witch hunt. We're going to get the big one. We're not scared.
Uh-oh, a mountain. A big bald mountain. We can't go over it.
We'll have to go round it.
Crunch, scrunch, crunch, scrunch.
Oh boy. He gone.
Crunch, scrunch,
Crunch, scrunch. We're going on a witch hunt. We're going to get the big one. We're not scared.
Uh-oh. Harpies. Scary, scaly harpies. We can't go over.
Scratch, screech, scratch, screech. Scratch, screech, scratch, screech. We're going on a witch hunt. We're going to get the big one. We're not scared. Huh? Guys? Quick!
scratch, screech. Back up the mountain. Crunch, scrunch. Back over the bridge. Slash, slash. Back through the bog. Splash, splash.
How did you not notice I wasn't with you? I literally sing all the time.
Come on!
Right, yes.
Quick, back to Kaer Morhen, across the bridge. Draw up the portcullis, up to the keep. Take some blizzard.
We didn't close the portcullis!
We're not scared.
All right, Michelin stars. Oh my God, am I going to get trashed for everything I said last week? Bill, I was listening to your Thursday afternoon podcast and I heard you bring up the Michelin stars for food. And I had the same reaction some years back when I first heard about it. For those of you who didn't listen, like I thought Michelin stars was separate from Michelin tires. Like the way a Macintosh stereo, like the best turntable, one of the best out there, arguably, is different from Macintosh computers and is spelled differently. But evidently it was the same people. And I'm like, why am I listening to the people who make radial tires so I don't hydroplane tell me where I should go get some beef bourguignon? So anyways, he said, I had the same reaction, or she said, back when I first heard about it. Like, wait, it's the same guys that do the tires?
Down.
So I had to find out why a tire company became the standard for fine dining. Turns out the founders, who are French, so I automatically love them, started the tire company in 1900 when there were only about 3,000 cars in the entire country. So to help drivers develop road trips, which would mean increased car sales and also increased tire sales, they started a guide that included maps, how to change a tire, where to get gas, and places to eat and sleep. Eventually, they branched into fine dining in the 1920s or so. This has got to be the most informative and interesting email I've gotten as far as, like, correcting me. The Kate Upton one might have been the most hilarious, considering all you Astro friends knew why she was chiming in. Anyways, 1 star means it's a very good restaurant in its category. 2 stars is excellent cooking, worth a detour. 3 stars is exceptional cuisine, worth a special journey. And I even think like that is, like all of those are, the way they're described, are being extremely humble. Because if you get any star, as far as I mean, I don't know too much about it, but like if you get 3 stars, you're one of the best restaurants in the world. So if you get 1, you're a third of the best restaurant in the world. I mean, I'm going to fucking eat there. Anyways, most restaurants don't even get the 1 star. So 1 star is pretty damn solid. There you go. Anyways, there is actually a 1-star restaurant right down the street from the Comedy Cellar on McDougal called Minetta Tavern. Oh, I've eaten there. You've probably walked by this place thousands of times. If you haven't been there, it's definitely worth a stop in. I think it opened in the 1930s. Not stuffy or pretentious. Really old school place. Order the Black Label Burger. I promise the burger and fries are going to be excellent.
I don't have to pay you.
In New York, which I'm going to be when I play Madison Square Garden on November 7th. Anyways, that's the Michelin story. Check out Minetta if you haven't before. Hey, you know what? These are 2 really great, informative emails. I love it. Thank you very much. Hey, let me finish the last 2 reads of the advertising here real quick. You guys want to hear me read out loud? You want to hear it be entertaining again? And then I'll go back to saying dumb shit about stuff, and then you guys can correct me on the next podcast. No, not the reads. Go back to the emails. All right, here we go. Kate Upton, Michelin stars. Car for high school kid. All right, let's see this. Hey there, Billy Bronco. Hey, how about those new Broncos that are coming back, huh? Those look sweet. I worked in a garage during summers of high school and college. Not only do you see what cars aren't shit under the hood. Wait, I worked in cars. I just literally went to the fantasy of buying one of those Broncos. And the fantasy included my wife saying, absolutely, Bill, get one. You know what I actually tried to talk her into was letting me buy one of those old GMC RVs from the 1970s into the 80s. And I wanted it in that Palm Desert green. And I was going to have the dude who built my truck make this fucking thing. I was actually considering have it be all electric and then hiring a driver. And whenever I had a fucking road gig, I just had that thing driving around. I'd fly to where it was and do a run of gigs. And we would just be in there, and we'd have a fucking humidor and a fridge for some ice cold beer. And I'd put on fucking 9 million pounds. And my wife was just like, no, you're not doing that. And I was just like, okay. It's good. Because I swear to God, if she didn't, I would have the shit that I would have. You know what I mean? I would argue that I would have one of the weirdest fucking car collections ever. Because I would own one of those. I like station wagons. I'd have one of those fucking Mercedes-Benz AMG fucking station wagons. You know what? One of these days, I'll give you, like, my top 10 fucking cars. Because I really got to sit down and think about it. I like those GM, remember, look up GM, General Motors Parade of Progress. And look at those, what the fuck was that thing called? Just look that up. Whatever that vehicle was called. It was like a fucking living room. And a bus. All at the same time. It had a spiral staircase that you walked up. The Parade of Progress. Check that thing out. Anyways, plowing ahead here. Let me finish reading this thing here. Not only
Help!
What I would have stretch limos.
I'm being attacked by a vicious pit bull.
Chrysler Imperial stretch limo, or maybe one of those ones that like John Lennon and Elvis had and World Leaders had, that was made by Mercedes. No. The 1960s, that really boxy.
My head!
Yeah, all weird shit. I wouldn't have a Shelby Mustang and a fucking Hemi this and a Hemi that. Fuck all that. That's all baby boomer shit. I have no interest in any of that stuff. I like that fucking weird shit. I like those niche. I like that fucking BMW that had like 3 wheels in the
I don't nip at my skin.
The steering wheel. I don't all shit like that. Now there's got to be somebody out there with a car collection like that. That you can tell me I can go look at all those cars, because I love all of that shit, man.
Nip.
All right.
Like little TTT after your skin, like.
Anyways, the kid who wanted to buy the car. All right, let's start over. I worked in a garage during summers of high school and college. Not only do you see what cars aren't shit under the hood, but also cars that look lame real fast. My advice for that kid is to get something with mileage from the 90s. Jeeps, lightweight pickups, and anything you can find parts for, and anything where you open the hood and the parts are identifiable. Don't get a Dodge Neon or a shitbox. Find something that looks new inside and out. Get the oil changed every 3,000 miles and have it as long as you want. There you go. I used to do that. That's one of the big things. Changing points when I was a kid was I learned how to change the oil in the car, which is really simple, but it's huge. I would do it every 2,500 miles. I remember being in back east and be freezing fucking cold out, and you had to do that thing where, I tried it the first time when the engine was ice cold and the oil was coming out like syrup, so you'd have to start the car up, let it run a little bit where you'd heat it up, but not too much where all of a sudden then it'd be fucking hot. But even then that wasn't bad. You just go inside for like fucking a half hour. And I had a little place down by the firehouse that used to take the recycled oil, and I come down there and I dump the shit in. It was fucking beautiful. I learned how to change the fuel filter. Air filter is one of the easiest things. Fuel filter. Got a grease gun, the lube job, all that, so you didn't get all the squeaks and all that shit. Just basic maintenance like that, and then I would bring it in. I never learned how to adjust a carburetor. I was getting nervous with that shit, and I would just I'd do all that. However, one time I got impatient taking a fuel filter off, and I snapped it off of the fucking
give me kisses.
fuel line. So then I had to get it
You
towed
kiss
over.
my ouchies.
And I told the guy
I don't
over
bite.
there what I did. And he said I didn't communicate it right. And I had the fuel filter sitting on the bench seat, and he went out there to start it up, and gas went all over the fucking engine, and we had a fucking engine fire. That's what he said. We had a fire. I was like, no, dude, you had a fucking fire. And then he fucking yelled at me and shit, and like I was going to sue him. He goes, look, I'm not going to start fucking doing a bunch of work on a goddamn car with 100-something thousand fucking miles on it. And just yelling at me. I remember looking at the guy like, dude, I've been bringing my fucking car over here forever. This is how you're going to treat me? I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole, but I didn't know how to say that to him. So I remember my dad told me, he goes, you go down there and you make sure you pay. So there's a record that your car was there. And sure enough, I went down there and the guy said, no charge. I said, no, I'll pay for it. And he gave me a look because he knew that I knew what the fuck he was doing. And that's the last time I brought my car over there. Had it fixed somewhere else. And long story short, at one point I had an engine fire. And it fucking burned down to the ground. But that was years later. That was my first vehicle, too. 83 Ford Ranger. Anyways, to be honest, the insecurity never came... wait a sec. Oh, it's a different fucking email. Oh, okay. So that's that guy's suggestion. Anyway.
Game trailer. Yeah.
Poor little Rose. I'm waiting for you in the back bedroom. Oh, look. Your friends want to play hide and seek. Think you can save them on your way here?
Oh, jeez. They're moving.
Nope, you can't grab the axe. That's what I was thinking. Like, pick up the axe, pick up the axe.
I guess I should keep heading this way?
Ah!
many. If they see me, I'm toast. There's gotta be something I can do.
This is Resident Evil?
Just have to get past them.
Oh! Oh!
Just have to get past them.
Had enough?
Oh!
You know what happens to little girls who can't play nice, don't you? They get punished.
No way.
Never mind the other hand.
I think the bedroom is just over there.
Oh! Why didn't you just do that before? Ow! Hey. That's too hard. No. You're biting too hard.
No one likes Rose because she's a freak. Hey! She has those crazy powers. Just like her dad. That's why she doesn't have any friends. Shut up! You know it's true. What is wrong with her? She's afraid. Look at her. Afraid of what she might turn into. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
No, lay down. Lay down.
I gotta get out of here.
No.
So you're the girl without any friends.
There's your rope. We'll find your rope. Get it. Where's your rope?
Shut up! Everyone hates Rose. Rose has no friends. It's all because of her dad.
Just shut up! Michael! I can't take much more of this. Why are they talking about my dad? I never even met him. No, I don't know. I don't know the first thing about him. I wish I did. All I know is he died protecting me. Sometimes I try to imagine what my life would have been like if he hadn't died. Would he have taught me to ride a bike? Helped me with my homework? Read me a story every night? Would he have been there for me? Proud of me? Sometimes, when I feel lost or afraid, I try to imagine what he might have said to me.
So with Firehouse Subs, you don't just make subs. We make subs that are big, bold, and craveable.
Where are we?
Man, this looks really good.
Whether you order online or on our app, Firehouse Subs Rapid Rescue to Go will have your subs boxed, bagged, and ready for pickup. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs.
It feels
Save more lives.
familiar. Like I've been here before. Look at all the decorations. Some kind of party?
Oh man, that looks really good.
You've been naughty.
Hello, denizens.
Hello.
Former network executive reaction here with some personal thoughts on a
Call me
brand
Chato.
new
Go
Amazon show,
subscribe.
The Peripheral. There will be spoilers. Yes, out from under the stinking corpse of Rings of Power, Amazon Productions has given us The
Hey,
Peripheral.
what's up, buddy?
Right off the bat, it has all the features of a dumb
I'm
sci-fi
just
show
relaxing.
that I would watch.
Going through
but
my feed.
It also has
I'm gonna start this new thing.
warning signs.
I'm
For
affiliate.
me,
It doesn't
at
matter how many
least,
hours I
Number one,
don't get views.
it's based on a William Gibson book.
Trying this
I don't
out.
like Gibson as a futurist because he demonstrates he knows dick all about technology. I'm a
How you doing
tech
today,
nerd
bud?
and a gamer. Johnny Mnemonic was an extraordinarily painful read. However, Gibson is an excellent jargon generator, hence his notoriety. I have often thought that Neil Stevenson, one of my favorite writers, someone
That's
who
good.
definitely knows his tech, wrote Snow Crash as an F.U. to Gibson's tragic
Oh, one more
techno-nonsense.
day and I get
Anyway,
my new microphone and
that's
webcam. I
one
can't wait.
hit. Another is that this is being produced by the same people who did Westworld. That would be 2 hits. But let's judge the show on its own merits. To understand what is going on, you really need to see the first 2 episodes. In the comments below. Wasn't influenced by Robert Venditti's
Yeah,
Surrogates,
I don't care about this shit.
which was also turned into a movie starring Bruce.
You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no holds barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Hey, buddy.
All right, guys, this is going to be a follow-up video to a video I put up last week about the Wisconsin women's volleyball team. They won the NCAA title in 2021, and then they actually decided to go into the locker room and take some explicit photos
man.
of themselves. I
hear you there,
And
brother.
when I made the video,
I got 2 of
I actually
these.
speculated that, you know what?
The other one.
These photos were leaked. It
Plus
probably
it-
came from somebody on the team. It
And
had to. Now, this
the
is
microphone
roughly, I
in
believe,
here
like a
just
year ago.
has this
when
hype.
these
It
photos
just
were taken.
that's all it does. So
And I am proven right. Here we go. Over here on Outkick, police announced major update on
telling
leaked Wisconsin volleyball photos.
I had to
It
attach
says
this
here,
other
new photos
microphone.
and videos of the Wisconsin volleyball team originated from a player's phone.
I'll be really happy. And
I told you
yeah,
guys,
I need to get a
modern
new headset
technology
too.
is
That'll
forever-
be the next thing.
It's connected to the internet. Now, the police, I believe, don't actually
what are those
believe
ones
that the
that are
phone
like
was
perfectly
stolen
circular?
or anything like that.
Those
They believe it was actually hacked.
I've been seeing a
Now,
lot
what
of
do we
streamers
know
with
about
those. I think I want to get
phones
those.
today? Everything exists on
So
a
it might
cloud.
take away from me to save up.
Like, folks, I actually have a Samsung phone. When I buy a new phone, I don't actually have to transfer physically the photos on the phone. It's in the cloud. So all I got to
HyperX?
do is
it?
just get it from the cloud. And I'm willing to bet, folks, that's probably what happened here. But it says here the Badgers team has been in the news since a ton of sexual content of the team hit the web.
Oh boy.
Outkick has decided not to share or link to any of it. Now, when I was actually searching for the thumbnail for this video here, the actual photo popped up. Now, it did actually cover up the women's breasts, but that just tells you those photos are still out there, even though they actually tried to get as many of them down as possible. But still, folks, the internet is forever. It has now been determined the source of the material came from an unspecified player's phone, according to the Daily Mail. However, police do not believe the player released any of the material. Quote, "We're looking into what happened and who may have shared those photos. None of the players are being investigated, and we are looking at the possibility that one of their phones was hacked." You see, the phone wasn't stolen, but hacked. UW Madison Police Department Executive Director of Communications.
Man, don't keep nudes on your phone. What'd you say it was? HyperX. That's why I got for my microphone. It's the red one. Nah, no, those ain't it. Those ain't it. Hold on. Amazon. What were they? Oh, shit. I thought they would be the first ones that pop up. Why? Why you me fucking tools, you fucking asshole? God damn it. They kind of look like these, except without that. They're like perfectly round. They look kind of weird. Again, they kind of look like cat ears one. Kind of like this. Don't ain't it though. Is it these? Fuck. Nah. Again, it kind of looks like that, except it doesn't bulge out like that. Hey, wanna buy something? I'm selling something. It's pricey though. Selling. Bah. Selling my modded Nintendo DS. It's got all Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy games programmed on it, along with a bunch of along with all these 3DS games or 2DS games. They're both are included on it. Got a little cool attachment. Yeah, the little controller thing. Every Game Boy should have one of those, man. I fucking hated holding Game Boys, except for the Advance. Potato D2 770 Pro. Oh, okay. Huh. Hold on. I'll look it up. Oh, my dog's barking like crazy. Let me go get her.
At the Lonnie car and you lost everything. And this is on your ass, man. So if you come up a lame, clearly,
You know, like tomato. Throw it.
Not see this anymore. Jokes. Whoa.
Yourself. Yeah, only if you are.
Who is it you think of when it comes to Borderlands' best character? The one that if you had to choose...
Field study number 3. Danger levels of the nucleus are inconclusive. Operators touching the nucleus reported unusual symptoms. And the corrosive sprawl is confirmed to be an autoimmune response. There it is. Parasite subject 56. It's calling to me. What is this power? This parasite energy? My body, my eyesight, it wants to take over. All this noise, all this chaos. It feels amazing. It's mine, all mine. I can't keep up, I can't hold on.
Time is running out. The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming.
You don't really want war. All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands.
Fate only binds you if you let it. We will make our own destiny.
God of War Ragnarok is right around the corner. There's so much I want to say, so much I can't tell you, but what I can discuss, I'm going to discuss with the man himself, the director of the game, Eric Williams. First and foremost, Eric.
But I love how clumsy the little guy is. You know, he's all uncoordinated because he's a toddler. The other day, he was just standing next to me, and he fell over. I was like, son, you could be the president one day. It's pretty good. But I love how clumsy the little...
This one's the real deal. I can feel it. It's working. Oh my God. Is this what normal feels
Rose, I've waited so long for you.
Who are you?
My name is Miranda. You had become so powerful. Far too powerful for me to subdue directly. So, I had to lure you into this realm so that you might willingly relinquish your powers.
No, but He said...
Did he? Or did I? That game was an illusion. Very convincing, wouldn't you say?
No way.
Now you can become the vessel for my Eva!
Rose, run!
Ethan, you pest!
Go!
Stop him even he can manifest. He can't save you, Rose! No one can. Rose!
Rose, hurry!
You can't escape! Not from me!
Dad, wait, hold up. Is it really you?
Yes, but right now you need to run! Run!
Thanks. Why didn't you tell me who you really were? Why'd you let me call you Michael?
I didn't want to complicate things. I just needed you safe. And I'm sorry I left you alone. But I had to find a way out. And I did. It's just ahead.
Rose!
Get away from my daughter! Stay away from my family! Rose, come on!
You can't escape Rose. Ethan, persistent as always.
Dad!
Rose, now's your chance. Go live a normal life. Make friends. No one will ever call you a freak again.
But...
Rose, just go!
I don't want to leave you!
I know. I know. I love you. But I need to know that you're safe. So please, just...
Ethan, you insolent pest!
I got this. Get out of here.
Don't worry, Dad. I've got this.
You think your powers will allow you to stand against me in the heart of my domain? Foolish little girl.
With how intent you were on my throwing them away, I think they just might.
Here I come. Wretch, little girl. And even if you were to survive, what would be the point? You can't save your father. You are of two different worlds.
I won't let you do this!
Impossible! It took so much to lure me, but you're incredible! Well,
You might change your mind when I put an end to your plan!
come! Be by my side!
world within the Megamycete to resurrect my sweet daughter. No matter how many vessels I created, none had the power to reach her. That is why it must be you. You are the only one who can bring her back to me. Whatever it takes, whatever I must do, I will see this through. Do you still not see? There is no happy ending.
Says the wicked witch at the end of her reign.
Kill me. And you kill the only one who understands you.
Let's see you dodge this.
What is this? You just won't give up. You really are strong. That stubborn life that shines inside you makes you the perfect vessel for my Eva. How do you possess such power? I shall finish this. There is no victory. Finally, my struggle comes to fruition.
Rose! Over here!
Dad!
Use this! Take her down!
Oh, I will.
Return and yield your strength to me! Ah! So much power! You truly would have been the perfect vessel for my Eva!
I'm not a goddamn vessel. Not some stupid copy. I'm me, Rose. And you're done.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh my god!
You're so grown up now. And even though I wasn't there with you, I've always watched over you. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you.
All you've ever done is protect me.
No. Not this time. You lost your chance. I'm so sorry.
No. It was my choice. And I don't regret it one bit. If I had left you, then we never would have had this chance to talk face to face. So it's okay. I'm okay.
I'm so proud of you. so very proud of you. I love you, Rose.
I love you too, Dad. I'm back. I'm back. Dad.
Do you think the little boy will be able to touch the moon?
Nobody can touch the moon. It's too far away.
Wait, what if he has a rocket ship?
Okay, then he can touch it, but it'd be very, very cold.
You were being silly. I don't think the moon feels
It does. But it...
Hey, Dad. Happy birthday. Sorry I missed last week. I have a lot of tests coming up. You know how it is. Talk of the goddamn devil. Duty calls. I love you.
Yeah, I found her. Where else? Today of all days. We have a situation. You're needed, Evelyn.
Don't you ever call me that again.
Whoa, it's just a joke, Rose.
I can show you things even Chris doesn't know I can do.
We have a clear shot. Stand down. I can handle it. She's just a kid.
Way to keep it together, Rose.
You're a lot like him, you know?
I know.
It's 5 p.m. and you've just realized that report you've been putting off is due tomorrow. It's time to buckle down, open your computer, and check your phone. Maybe catch up on your favorite YouTube channel. Actually, you should probably make dinner first. You usually like cooking, though it's hard to enjoy with this work hanging over your head. And, oh, it's actually pretty late. Maybe you should just try again in the morning. This is the cycle of procrastination, and I promise you, we have all been there. But why do we keep procrastinating even when we know it's bad for us? To be clear, putting something off isn't always procrastinating. Responsible time management requires deciding which tasks are important and which ones can wait. Procrastination is when we avoid a task we said we would do for no good reason, despite expecting our behavior to bring negative consequences. Obviously, it's irrational to do something you expect to harm you. But ironically, procrastination is the result of our bodies trying to protect us, specifically by avoiding a task we see as threatening. When you realize you need to write that report, your brain responds like it would to any incoming threat. Your amygdala, a set of neurons involved in emotional processing and threat identification, releases hormones, including adrenaline, that kick off a fear response. This stress-induced panic can overpower the impulses from your prefrontal cortex, which typically help you think long-term and regulate your emotions. And it's in the midst of this fight, flight, or freeze response that you decide to handle the threat by avoiding it in favor of some less stressful task. This response might seem extreme. After all, it's just a deadline, not a bear attack. But we're most likely to procrastinate tasks that evoke negative feelings, such as dread, incompetence, and insecurity. Studies of procrastinating university students have found participants were more likely to put off tasks they perceived as stressful or challenging, and the perception of how difficult a task is increases while you're putting it off. In one experiment, students were given reminders to study throughout the day. While they were studying, most reported that it wasn't so bad, but when they were procrastinating, they consistently rated the idea of studying as very stressful, making it difficult to get started. Because procrastination is motivated by our negative feelings, some individuals are more susceptible to it than others. People who have difficulty regulating their emotions and those who struggle with low self-esteem are much more likely to procrastinate, regardless of how good they are at time management. However, it's a common misconception that all procrastinators are lazy. In the body and brain, laziness is marked by low energy and general apathy. When you're feeling lazy, you're more likely to sit around doing nothing than distract yourself with unimportant tasks. In fact, many people procrastinate because they care too much. Procrastinators often report a high fear of failure, putting things off because they're afraid their work won't live up to their high standards. Whatever the reason for procrastination, the results are often the same. Frequent procrastinators are likely to suffer from anxiety and depression, ongoing feelings of shame, higher stress levels, and physical ailments associated with high stress. Worst of all, while procrastination hurts us in the long run, it does temporarily reduce our stress level, reinforcing it as a bodily response for coping with stressful tasks. So, how can we break the cycle of procrastination? Traditionally, people thought procrastinators needed to cultivate discipline and practice strict time management. But today, many researchers feel the exact opposite. Being too hard on yourself can layer additional bad emotions onto a task, making the threat even more intense. To short-circuit this stress response, we need to address and reduce these negative emotions. Some simple strategies include breaking a task into smaller elements, or journaling about why it's stressing you out and addressing those underlying concerns. Try removing nearby distractions that make it easy to impulsively procrastinate. And more than anything, it helps to cultivate an attitude of self-compassion, forgiving yourself and making a plan to do better next time. Because a culture that perpetuates this cycle of stress and procrastination hurts all of us in the long term. Speaking of
Arbon Animations U2's vinyl figurine is available now, right now. Why? Because it's our 10th anniversary. And to celebrate, we've released a very limited time, our logo in figurine form.
Has Ned Leeds, Peter Parker's old friend, once again taken up the mantle of the Hobgoblin, and if so, why? Let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 12 and find out the answer to that question together, shall we? So then, this brand new issue actually picks up directly from where the last one left off. You'll remember that Norman Osborn was taking a clandestine dockside meeting with Roderick Kingsley, only for both of them to come under attack by a new Hobgoblin. In a very clever bit of visual storytelling, the EMTs have to dig out a battered and bruised Norman from the wreckage, while Kingsley just punches his way out like it was nothing. In doing so, showcasing that Norman isn't taking any goblin-enhancing drugs recently, and because of that, he's squishy and fragile like a normal human, where Kingsley is very obviously still juicing up. Peter goes to meet Norman at the hospital, but understandably he's pretty pissed at him. They agreed that they would be honest with each other moving forward, but Norman lied to Peter about when exactly his meeting with Kingsley was taking place. Norman swears up and down that he didn't do this to try and be sinister, only that he was trying to protect Peter by actively going out of his way to clean up a bunch of his own old messes without always needing Spider-Man to bail him out. Pete is mad and very suspicious, but he's still equally suspicious about Ned Leeds, as it seems sadly very obvious that Ned has broken bad. Peter decides to look into this case a little closer by going and actually talking with Betty. We see that she's really truly shaken, and we learn that while things were good with her and Ned for a bit, things quickly changed after they had their kid Winston. Ned started getting a lot more paranoid. He thought Norman was sending people to spy on them, that his baby's formula was tainted, and that maybe they actually wanted to kidnap his child because of something to do with goblin blood. Things got so bad he even started wearing his old hobgoblin costume again around the house. These seem like the actions of a deranged man, and when Spider-Man actually tries to hunt Ned down at his office, things start making a lot more sense. Not only has Ned put together an entire string theory board that would put the one from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to shame, but Peter also discovers that Ned is making use of the Winkler machine again. Okay, so what's the Winkler machine? Well, it's a reference to Dr. Winkler, a real deep-cut Spider-Man character from back in the day. Basically, the dude built a machine for the Kingpin so he could brainwash people and help facilitate basically all those famous Spider-Man brainwashing stories that you know and love. Kingsley had used the machine on Ned back in the day to trick him into being Hobgoblin so that they could help prolong that story.
Oh, so where you live, man? You must live on the other side of the world. Bedtime for you, it's 3 p.m. here.
They both end up coming under attack by another Hobgoblin. It's also made abundantly clear that this is another Hobgoblin because while the one at the docks from the previous issue went in for the kill, this one is all about the big bad supervillain theatrics. He toys with Spider-Man, he monologues, he even does the little glove laser blast thing, which admittedly we have not seen in a very long time. It's a nice callback. Spider-Man holds his ground in the fight very well, thanks in no small part to Norman Osborn's brand new spider suit, which comes complete with its own glider, something that pisses off this other Hobgoblin to no end. Now, Peter's not stupid, and this is far from his first Goblin rodeo. He knows that the best thing to do in this situation is to unmask the guy in quick so we can finally get to the bottom of what exactly is going on here. One new nano spider bomb and a trip through a water tower later, and Peter is ultimately able to reveal that this Hobgoblin who attacked him and Ned turns out to be none other than, well, Broderick Kingsley himself, because obviously who else it was gonna be. But why, though, is the big question. It seems that Roderick was up to his old tricks again, using the Winkler machine to try and brainwash Ned into thinking that he was also the Hobgoblin. Though that plan clearly backfired on him, though, because look what happened at the docks. This new revelation freaked Spider-Man out just enough to allow Kingsley and Ned to get the upper hand on him. Again, credit where credit is due on the art side of things. I like that Ned's glider doesn't have as many spikes as Kingsley does, and Kingsley's eyes on his mask are brighter than Ned's, letting you know exactly which Hobgoblin you're dealing with at any given time. And it's right there the comic comes to a close, everyone. So that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 12, and overall I thought it was fine. Not great, just fine. I was really excited for this story going in, but I can't help but shake the feeling.
Recently, Sega sent me the Sega Mega Drive Mini 2. The latest in the never-ending lineup of mini consoles, some of which are good, some are terrible, and the previously shown-off Mega Drive Mini 1 is without a doubt one of the absolute best of the bunch. I, as well as every other YouTuber even slightly interested in retro, covered this bad boy when released, and across the board, it was very well received, and at the time of recording, I asked the question, who is this system actually aimed at? And not to ruin the surprise for people that haven't seen that review, but the answer was for everyone. Not just for the hardcore Sega fanboy like myself, but the common dad out there that was no doubt caught up in the mini console race that was happening at the time, getting given it for Christmas by his wife to help him rekindle a few childhood memories. However, 3 years later, times have changed. All of the obvious consoles have now been minified, leaving only the obscure and the hard to do. And Sega know this. This is why the Mega Drive Mini 2 or Genesis Mini 2 isn't something you can just pick up at the shops. This is an Amazon exclusive system that is being produced in limited quantities compared to the original. In fact, for every 10 of these produced, only one of the Mega Drive Mini 2s will be produced. Meaning that this system, in my eyes, is aimed at the hardcore collector, or fanboy for the most part, and is doing so with a tighter budget. And as I am a bit of a Sega fanboy, a super hardcore retro gaming enthusiast, let's see if it can live up to the expectations. Straight up the box. Damn, is it small. and feels a little vaporwavy like with its "this font doesn't exist" typeface found at the top right. But hey, the console itself, just like before, is perfect. All of the dents and grooves are in the right place. However, where is the light? That little red light found at the front. It's gone. I'm not happy, Sega. Not happy about this one at all, as this is obviously where they've saved some money. You see, the Japanese model doesn't have this hole, whereas the American and European releases do, so it's one mold for all regions, it seems, with a different printed logo on top. Besides this though, everything else just seems to be fine and to scale. Right, let's boot up this bad boy. Straight out of the gate after choosing your language, the fresh new music from Streets of Rage legend Yuzo Koshiro comes pumping out, and you are greeted with your rather obscure list of games to choose from. And as you look through them, you instantly see the difference between the two systems. Whereas the original has more obvious titles like Castle of Illusion, Streets of Rage 2, Altered Beast, Columns, and of course Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, this system has games that, in a lot of cases, unless you're obsessed with Sega, you wouldn't even know existed. Alien Soldier is the big boys Gunstar Heroes. Atomic Runner is one of the finest hidden gems for the system, a controversial title when it was released as it takes influences from the Chernobyl disaster, something Data East denied, resulting in the name change when it went to Western Shores. Clay Fighters is a terrible yet iconic beat-em-up game from the era. Desert Strike, on the other hand, was loved by all who fancied something less cutesy during a time when lovable platformers ruled the roost. Crusader of Senti is one of the most expensive games in America for the system and is beloved by all who like these sort of games, given a very obvious classic Zelda playstyle. Element Master is a shmup that never came to the UK originally. Game Ground is the thinking man's twin-stick shooter and is super addictive when you get used to it. The list goes on and on. 60 titles are found on this bad boy as opposed to just over 40 titles on the original Mega Drive Mini. And even though it does have a few obvious titles in there like Splatterhouse 2, Earthworm Jim 2, Golden Axe 2, for the most part, out of those 60 games, they are not well-known games, and I admire the selection so much more because of that. Adding to this, you got a small selection of Mega CD games and 7 bonus titles too. For fans, if it hasn't sold out already, I would say it's well worth it for the selection alone.
My cousin had that.
Because no matter what game you decide to play, they play perfectly.
As an arcade game.
I personally haven't noticed any issues myself in regards to lag or the
only
double tap with the control pad that some people brought up with the original. It just works as expected and does so without any hiccups. The Mega Drive Mini 2, unsurprisingly, is just more of the same. And that is to be expected, as, yet again, M2 are in charge of the emulation on this device. Meaning that every game is crisp and every game feels sharp. For those that don't know, M2 are the go-to port house that have made a name for themselves, creating some of the absolute best ports imaginable, especially as part of their M2 Shot Trigger series. And that continues in this collection too, with a brand new port of the incredible arcade game Fantasy Zone, which I've done a complete history on, by the way. And when it comes down to games like Thunder Force 4 or Lightning Force as it's known in North America, you have additional options that show up when you boot up the game. Just like before, the extra detail can be found when changing the languages, which in turn changes the covers and ROMs of those specific games. And unlike before, for us European folk, you can unlock the American or NTSC covers too by choosing a region like Korea. This means that yes, you have all 3 versions of the games that were released in all 3 regions. Now, the reason you might want to do this, besides having different box arts and different menus, is because certain games in this list play differently in different regions. Rystar is a perfect example, as the Japanese version not only has a slightly different title screen, but also different looking enemies and a happier main character too, compared to the moody bouncer-like character found in the international release. Final Fight has a different intro and changed up sprite work throughout the entire game. Sonic CD has a different soundtrack depending on the region. In fact, this one lets you choose between the European and American soundtracks when booted up from the UK menu.
Oh, that's cool.
And then lets you choose between the Japanese and American version when loaded up from Japan.
Oh,
Loads of games have different names between the regions, like for instance, Revenge of Shinobi is called the Super Shinobi in Japan, and by the way, guys, it's the virtual console release of the Revenge of Shinobi that you're going to be finding on this system. Which I think is the 4th re-release of the game that doesn't feature all of the copyright infringement Batman, Godzilla and Spider-Man references like all of the earlier releases. I played through it to check, and as a result, I may just be the first person to ever complete that game on the Mega Drive Mini 2. Basically, what I'm saying is there are a whole load of differences between the regions, and exploring them is part of the fun of owning a system like this. However, the biggest change between all of those regions found on this system is definitely Streets of Rage 3, better known to the hardcore fans as Bare Knuckle 3. Guys, we have an M2 ported Bare Knuckle 3 game on this, and that is a big deal if you ask me. For those that don't know, I highly suggest checking out my history on the franchise, which I'll link in this video's description. Streets of Rage 3 is the hardcore fanboys' favourite out of the original trilogy in a lot of cases. They messed it up when they brought it to the West, but that Japanese original version is a whole lot better. I still prefer the original 2 games myself, but still, you haven't played Streets of Rage 3 until you've played the original Bare Knuckle 3, which is on this device. And it's ported by M2. Already, I'm having such a great time with this system. Sega and M2 have done a great job, and I'm really enjoying exploring all of the hidden extras found on this console. Save states work great, although keep in mind you only have 4 that are shared between every single region, and when you load them up, they change back to the region that you originally saved them in. The ability to change the music from Mega Drive 1 to Mega Drive 2 in the menu was a glorious add-on that I was not expecting, and it's one of the few times that you can actually notice the differences for myself. Have a listen. What do you prefer? Let me know down below. The hidden extras go even further too, with the original Mega CD intro showing up in the credits menu. And when you turn off the system, you even get a shot at Sega's office in Tokyo. Nice. So in short, the Mega Drive Mini 2 is a love letter to Sega fans and the Sega Mega Drive as a whole. Being able to give people the experience to play those games that they may not have had originally back in the day. Rainbow Island Extra isn't the best version by a long shot, but it was a game I always wanted to get when I was younger. Midnight Resistance never even made it to my neck of the woods, but I remember loving the look of it in mags at the time, and have had a great time emulating it up to this point. Ranger X is an incredible run and gun game that I've only ever briefly played in the past but always loved, and I'm really looking forward to digging deeper with the Mini. Truxton is of course a fan favourite shmup too, as is Viewpoint. There is just so much to dig through on this system, including the bonus games. We already showed off Fantasy Zone, which plays exactly how you would expect those that have played the arcade original, but then there's still 6 more to talk about. Deviant Pie is an odd and bloody hard breakout type game, but not really. With the control pad, you move left and right, having to bounce a purple devil dude back up to the top of the screen by hitting the side of them, and then on the top of the screen you need to use the A and B to move that left and right to collect angels, but these can be hit directly. Honestly, I'm not feeling this. Perhaps the game is supposed to be played with 2 players because this is painful to try and keep up with. It's just not for me. Space Harrier 2 is one of the launch titles for the system, and on this mini, we have a revamped version of the original game that is easily the best way to play, as M2 are creating something much closer to the arcade original, which is also on here too, but more Mega Drive-y. This is a real odd one, as it's obviously a downgrade, but I'm not entirely sure what it's a downgrade to. Could a Mega Drive actually run this title? Only time will tell. An odd inclusion, but a welcome one at that, as this is, like I said, the best way to play Space Harrier 2, at least. Spatter is a 1984 arcade game ported to the system for the first time, where you go around maze-like levels, dodging bad guys, collecting flowers. It's honestly not that great, but nice to see ported onto the system at least, although you can kind of see why it never came out back in the day. Star Mobile is another one that never got released either, pausing its development 30 years ago and only getting finished and released now on this system. And damn, this game is so hard to get your head around. So stars fall down in different weights, and then you need to keep the whole thing balanced, but at the same time sandwich colours between 2 different colours to eliminate them, but by doing that it makes that side of the pendulum lighter, and you have almost no room from where the stars fall to where they land. This game is a real toughie. Versus Puyo Puyo Sun is an odd one. Basically, yes, it's Puyo Puyo, the classic game that is beloved by all, but this is a port of the Sega Saturn game Puyo Puyo Sun, which is essentially the 3rd proper release in the franchise. The idea was to port the entire Sega Saturn game to the Mega Drive, but to do so would take 4 months, and they only had 1 month left to actually do it. So they decided to only include the Versus mode, and voila! What you got is a stripped down Mega Drive port of a Sega Saturn game that only features the multiplayer mode, which is still great, but considering the Mega Drive Mini 2 only comes with 1 controller, yeah, this one's really weird for that reason. Thankfully, your old controllers work on here too, so at least that's something. And finally, you got Super Locomotive, an unreleased Mega Drive port of the classic arcade game that may take a little getting used to, but when you do, it's awesome. You need to shoot back at bombs that fall down on you whilst you boost away just at the right time to get away from upcoming trains, and of course maneuvering between the tracks too. It's hard, but it's so very good, and this port does all it needs to keep the spirit of the arcade original alive. Heck, you could even say that the Mega Drive has brought the arcade experience home once again.
You want real arcade action? There's only 2 ways to get it.
Dave, we got your golden axe.
Or get Genesis by Sega. We bring the arcade experience home.
And guys, that is my review of the Mega Drive Mini 2. Once again, Sega have knocked it out of the park on almost every front. Yes, it's annoying it didn't come with 2 controllers.
And just on this, a serious topic I know, but I've seen a Simpsons clip that sums up the renewable energy dilemma as brilliantly as ever. Take a look.
Tonight's game is brought to us by something special. The kite's best friend, the flag's partner in patriotism. You've seen cherubs blow it from map corners. The wind.
Yeah, blow me some spots.
Bullets fight for the ramparts we...
For the ramparts we what?
Don't worry, I'll go see what's wrong. What the? Who turned off the wind?
Dad, if we're really off the grid, then we won't get power when the air is still.
Oh, well, I'm not crawling back to big electricity. From now on, the Simpsons are living intermittently.
Yeah, living intermittently. Duh. That's Australia. We've taken the Homer option and deliberately chosen to rely on intermittent power. And unlike Springfield, we refuse to use nuclear energy.
Excuse me.
Get back, witch! Reveal yourself!
What the hell are you doing? It's a witch, Toby. It's a witch.
I'm not a witch!
I'm not a witch, you idiot! It's Abby! My new intern.
Hello.
Right, well, certainly one way to kickstart the day. Abby, welcome. Don't pay any attention to you, and he's a medium. He just gets agitated because most of his friends have been dead for 200 years. Also, it's women. They unnerve him, thinks they're all witches. Had a bad experience with one once. Broke his heart, almost killed him. Never been the same since.
Fool me once.
Exactly. Jobs are up. I sent them over. Dave! Abby, this is Dave, Team Skeptic.
Skeptic?
Yeah, arguably the most important job on the team.
So, why do you need a skeptic?
Well, mostly just to keep us grounded. You know, make sure we don't jump to any wild conclusions. Also acts as bait. Yeah, you see, the paras, ghosts, well, they just can't get enough of them.
Like vampires to virgins.
I mean, Dave's had it all, you know, flung across rooms, scratched up like an old cat post. Possessed more times than, well, all of us put together, can you say?
Yeah.
Cast into another dimension for a few hours last month, weren't you?
Yeah. Felt like years.
Can't believe they took you.
So why do they call you Dave? Because it's short for David.
I'm going.
It was lovely to meet you, Dave. David.
Right then, what have we got? Okay, so we've got a disturbance in Clapham, which we're going to need to get over later to check out. Also, you and Mrs. Miggins is saying that the ghost is back. Now, she doesn't want him gone this time, but she just wants him to start helping out a bit.
Hello. Abby from BPIT. I work for BPIT. I'm a paranormal investigator. I am a paranormal incoming. Jesus!
Just because you wear the badge doesn't make you anything special.
I didn't think I was.
Oh, what a surprise! You didn't think. Well, you better start thinking, or else you're going to find out very soon just how hard life can be. You watch one of our videos online and you think, oh, that looks like fun. Maybe I could catch a ghost. Maybe I could exorcise a demon. Maybe I could sidle up into the BPIT van and sit up front with Toby Summers. Well, I am sick. And I am tired of cleaning up dropped yogurt from people like you. Now, how about we have a look in here? Why can't I read your mind?
It's probably just too much going on up there.
Something off with you. Your mind, it's cloudy. What are you hiding?
I'm not hiding anything. Honestly, I'm an open book.
Poorly written, right? I assure you, if you are hiding something, believe me, I'll make you wish you'd never been born. All okay? Yes, yes! Just having a little pep talk with our new intern on a big day. Off you pop.
I mean, it's coming back negative on the Paradar, and the spook box is silent. It's impossible.
Your machines must be faulty. That thing is mental.
Well, I mean, I can take an EMF reading just to be on the safe side, but I really don't think we'll find anything.
It's all clear, boss.
You need to find something. I need that thing out of here in 10 minutes.
I really don't think it's paranormal.
Of course it's paranormal. Look at it. It is horrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but that doesn't necessarily make it paranormal.
Yeah, she's right.
Come on, it's not even
has anything
creepy.
else been happening besides it just looking horrible?
Yes. Loads.
What, like what?
Throw it in the trash.
What are the main ones you get?
Well, I mean, there aren't really main ones. We get all sorts of things, from footsteps to bleeding walls.
Yeah, all of that. Footsteps, bleeding walls. She's been flying about as well.
Flying about, has she?
I've never heard of anything like this before.
You calling me a liar?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and you've done a fabulous job on the walls.
That's her favourite corner to fly into. Look at that! Hey, it's explain that?
Pretty sure that was you, wasn't it?
It was definitely him.
Look, mate. Are you gonna burn that doll or not?
Hiya.
Shit.
Why is there a bee pit van outside, Chris?
I'll pay you. What? I'll pay you what you want. Just get rid of her.
I don't want it.
Now.
Why is there a bee pit van outside?
British, man.
What's going on?
It's Wendy.
Chris,
She was a demonic doll flying around crashing into me. What was I meant to do?
It's my mother's doll.
I don't care. I didn't mean that.
You are pathetic, Chris. Do you get a lot of fake calls?
Oh. I'd say about 9 out of 10 are false alarms, yeah. People take advantage of the half-hour free assessment quite a bit, actually. It's mostly just them wanting us to move old furniture.
Bloody cheek. Such a waste.
That 1 out of 10 job does come round. Trust me, when it does, we'll be praying for another Wendy. Right then, if we get to the next house call, you'll be there soon. Let's hope it's a goodie.
I mean, it's probably nothing. My mother seemed to think so, and then she knows best. I thought it better I'd just get a second opinion. Yeah.
How long's it been like that for?
This? Oh God, no! Just since this morning. But I have had these for about a week. You know, but I do suffer from eczema from time to time, so it's not completely out of character.
Look at his butt.
Yeah.
Okay, look, why don't you put your gown back on and we'll have a quick chat, all right?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you put your gown back on and we'll have a quick brainstorm about what could be going on here.
Oh, okay, great, yeah, sounds good. Some more tea.
Don't go see a doctor or anything.
Yes. Oh, wait, since the strange occurrences, or just generally?
Since the strange occurrences.
Still yes, then.
And how long has this been going on for?
Well, it's been, since she moved in.
Since who moved in?
Eva.
Who's Eva?
My new lodger.
Is she here now?
No, she's at one of her meetings.
Take me to her room.
Oh, no, I don't think she'd like you going in there. She's very private.
I need to see her room.
Well, no, I don't think that's a very good idea.
Terry, we need to see inside her room if we're going to help.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Okay, I'll take you up there.
That's right.
Jesus Christ!
Are you alright?
Yeah, I told you it wasn't a good idea.
Can we help?
You can kill me. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, you should go on without me. Upstairs, I mean, not in life. No, I'll probably be here for quite a while.
Jeez. Someone's got a bright attitude, but like, oh boy.
Shit.
No boy.
Did you find it?
Yeah, found it! Shit.
Look. This is witchcraft.
We need to leave now.
Toby, where are you going? Come back!
Leaving.
Toby, where are you going?
Oh boy.
Hey, guys, where are you going?
3.5 hours up, so don't worry, we'll be back.
What?
Come on, open!
Toby! Toby!
Whoa!
Oh god, sorry guys, that's gonna have to come out of her security deposit.
Ewan!
Wake up! Okay, are you okay?
I'm okay. I've just seen her take me. Yeah, I'm okay.
So, I guess I may have left some stuff off my application form.
Yeah. Come on. Let's pack up.
I'll get the coats.
This is pretty cool. I liked it.
Guys, everything alright? Where's Eva? See, the head's still stuck to the table, guys, so I can't move. I can just see the wall. It's pretty eventful. Guys! Can you at least just leave the door open so people can hear me scream? Oh, brilliant!
What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back with the Fantastic Four. Now, some of what we're going to talk about in this video in the beginning will be important maybe to a degree later on. Everything in the second half is ridiculously important, and it's amazing at the same time. Okay, so here's the thing. What this does is this initially opens up with basically Reed Richards addressing what's called the Singularity Project. And the whole idea behind this is that Reed Richards had formed this at a previous point in time to bring together the world's brightest minds, right? The most bright and most intelligent individuals for solving various problems. The issue with this is it's kind of like the Sir Ken Robinson lecture, right? Where he talked about how the biggest issue with education in the modern era is that it strips individuals of creativity and it replaces it with logic and reason, which is not an inherently bad thing, but that lack of balance is what really prevents humanity from achieving incredible things. And that's Reed Richards' stance here, that as time has gone on, he's become disillusioned with the Singularity Project, because instead of focusing on things of like what humanity can do, reaching for the stars and like colonizing the solar system and so on and so forth, these individuals are using their intelligence to write articles and talk about the impending end of humanity, overpopulation, economic inequality, different things along those lines. And in the mind of Reed Richards, while those things are relatively important, the reality here is that Reed Richards thinks beyond the average person, right? A small-minded person thinks in a small-minded way, and so they focus only on humanity in relation to its existence on Earth. What Reed Richards wants is a group that can focus on humanity in relation to extending beyond that, right? Like a small-minded person is worried about today, a big-minded person is worried about tomorrow. And that's really what he tells them here, right? You're all small people because you all think small. This entire thing is a failure. And so he ultimately ends up resigning and walking away. What he does instead is he comes to this realization, the ability to think outside the box, right? That it really does come from kids. It's the example of the elephant in the refrigerator. If any of you guys ever heard that story, it was basically this guy who essentially started going around to like adults and kids and trying to discern the difference between like creativity and kind of building off the studies of Sir Ken Robinson regarding like education and its failures and so on. So what he would do is he would walk up to adults and he would say, I want to put an elephant in a refrigerator. What do I do? And the adults would say things like, well, you shrink the elephant down, or you make a gigantic refrigerator that you can fit the elephant in. But the kids would say things like, lure it in there with a piece of cheese or something like that, or put a mouse behind it and scare it in, or just push it in. But kids would not give any thought to the logistics of how to physically fit an elephant into a refrigerator. They would just think of how it could be done. And that ability to think outside the box is what makes kids unique. And that's what Reed Richards is shooting for, right? Again, small-minded adults, big-minded kids. So what he ends up doing is forming the Future Foundation, which is basically the world's smartest kids, because they can think outside the box. They can think in a way that adults simply just can't do, because adults are guided by their own experiences, right? So a cynical adult will write a series of cynical articles, no matter how intelligent they are. And so this gives birth to the formation of the Future Foundation. And that's the Future Foundation part of the story. Everything else is just like really cool stuff that happens. Okay, so here's the thing. One of the first first things that happens here, and it's not even a really significant moment, but it's kind of a cool small little moment. And this is important for a couple different reasons. One is because of the nature of Franklin Richards' powers, but the other is the relationship between Franklin and Reed. That what you have here is an instance where there's like this big toy event that's going to be put on by a villain named Arcade. But Reed was supposed to take Franklin and his friend Leech. Reed ultimately reneges on his promise in order to work with the Future Foundation. Now, Reed's there with Franklin, but he doesn't pay a lot of attention to him. He doesn't really focus on him. And that's going to be an on-running theme, especially when Galactus comes to visit Reed, madder than he's ever been in his whole life. And then they talk about Franklin, because the reality here, and a little bit of a spoiler for this, with Franklin Powers being woken up, it scares the piss out of Galactus. It's amazing. It's just one of those ridiculously awesome moments in the comic. God, it's so cool when they have that conversation. But the thing about this is that because of the fact that Reed basically reneges on his promise, Johnny Storm ends up taking Franklin instead. Now, when they get there, of course, Johnny recognizes Arcade. Arcade has historically been a villain that basically creates death traps, death mazes. Johnny's kind of suspicious of all of this. Arcade has sort of turned over a new leaf to a degree, but he's also working with Impossible Man. Now, we do have a video, a Beyond Omega level video on Impossible Man. This guy's ridiculously powerful. He can take on the shape of virtually anything he wants and give himself virtually any superhuman power. There are limitations. So if he turns himself into like Thor's hammer, for example, he doesn't take on the ability of Thor's hammer to only be lifted by those who are worthy. Any swinging dick can just pick it up. You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of how it works with Impossible Man, but the guy's just ridiculously OP. He is, by all standards of measurement, Marvel's version of Mr. Mxyzptlk, for those of you guys who are coming from DC Comics. So the thing about this is that it's really just kind of them working together to a degree, and Arcade kind of turning over a new leaf, but also setting up like a little bit of a death trap where he tries to mess with Impossible Man. Things kind of pop off to a degree, but what ends up happening is that Franklin basically dealing with this in the moment. The toys of Mr. Impossible, which were created as death traps by Arcade, those are destroyed by Johnny Storm. The reason why this is important for Franklin is because the last time we saw him use his powers, he had created like a pocket universe in his bedroom. Now his powers are more fine-tuned. He brings a stuffed dinosaur to life, which attacks Arcade. Now, it's not the most important thing, and it's not the most grand display of Franklin's powers, but what I hope you guys notice here is he's gaining more control over his abilities, and there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that during the actual Future Foundation comic book run, because there comes a point where what Jonathan Hickman does is like, we'll cover the next story arc for Fantastic Four, which is called 3, which is amazing, but what that does is it switches over to what's called the Future Foundation, and that will actually explore how Franklin has learned to master his abilities, which is really cool. It's a really, really, really cool run. But the important thing here is that what this does is, of course, it allows them to kind of save the day and sort of go forward from there. But another thing that's not important at the moment, but will become important later, is that Reed Richards had kind of opened the floor to the Future Foundation to give them like their first real task, right? Their first real group project. The end result of their group project was finding a way to cure Ben Grimm. Now, they can't do it permanently, and in fact, they actually outsmarted Reed Richards, where what Reed tried to do was revert Ben Grimm back to his human form, but what they realized is because Ben Grimm had been fundamentally changed due to his exposure to the cosmic rays in the Fantastic Four's origin, that Reed Richards can stretch, Susan Storm can create force fields and make herself invisible, Johnny Storm can set himself on fire, but they do that because they have basically an on-off switch. They can use their powers or not use their powers. Ben Grimm is in a perpetually on switch, so what they do is they give him a temporary off switch. 1 week every year, he can go back to being human. The funny thing about this, and what's really crazy, is that there's actually going to be a caveat to this, and it's not even something anybody here can predict. And in fact, it's going to be something that by the time they realize what's going on, really Reed himself, by the time he realizes the caveat to this kind of cure, it'll be too late to do anything about it. It's actually really sad, but really happy at the same time. It's kind of an emotional roller coaster to a degree, but of course, they end up presenting him basically with this formula, and that's basically it. Now, this is when we switch over to the really, really cool stuff. Okay, so what we do here is we switch over to what is basically adult Franklin Richards. If you guys recall in our previous videos, we had talked about how this guy had appeared out of nowhere and basically went into the Baxter building, woke up Franklin's powers, had a conversation with Valeria, and then left. So this is where he comes back to, right? This is him coming back to his own, to wherever it was that he was at. And in reality, it's at the very end of time. What they're in is basically a kind of pocket reality that Franklin Richards himself made as an adult. So we're basically dealing with two versions of Franklin. There's the adult Franklin Richards, which we're talking about here. Then there's, of course, the kid Franklin Richards in the present era. This adult Franklin is at the very end of the time stream, right? The very end of all things. And what he says is, okay, I completed my mission. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. At which point, it's now Valeria's turn to jump into the time stream. But the other thing that goes on here is that once Valeria takes off, Franklin actually starts building a kind of dimensional barrier. Quite literally, the powers of Franklin Richards at this point in time are so astronomically powerful, he can actually hold off the universe itself. The entire universe collapsing in on itself, or at least a kind of cascading time stream where things are changing, and somebody being able to hold all that off. So this is an insane level of power, right? And here's the crazy thing, it's not even as powerful as he's going to be. He's gonna become more powerful as time goes on. It's nuts. That's why I tell you guys, man, dude, Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, son, it's a whole different thing. But what's crazy is that Franklin kind of doing this on his own, he's literally here while you end up having Nathaniel, who jumps back into the time stream as well. Of course, Nathaniel Richards being the father of Reed. Yes, he's here. We'll find out what he's been doing in this video. But one of the other things that I also want you to kind of keep in the back of your head, in this moment here, where Franklin's in this place by himself, this is going to tie into the Future Foundation comic. So that's something that I want you to just remember here. What we end up doing is actually jumping back to the college years of Reed Richards. That's where Nathaniel Richards goes, right? He goes back to the years when Reed was in college. Now, the funny thing about this is that this was actually something that was covered in Fantastic Four issue number 272. It's actually being changed here a little bit by Jonathan Hickman. So you can kind of ignore that original story, all of you guys who are super old school reading the Fantastic Four from way back then. If you're new to Fantastic Four, it doesn't matter to you, right? So don't worry about that. But the thing about this is that, of course, Reed meets with his father. And again, the last time that Reed saw Nathaniel was when we covered the time that Nathaniel left here in our Fantastic Four coverage on Comics Explained. That's the last time we've seen him, when he was a little kid. And so seeing his father again is cool. And there's a lot of catching up to do. And he's like, how in the world did you, like, what have you been doing all this time? What's been going on? Now, this is cool because this is when we start getting into the stuff with Kang the Conqueror. One of the things that I want to establish here, and I want to make clear, as you guys probably notice, Kang the Conqueror's name is Nathaniel Richards. This guy's name is Nathaniel Richards. No, they are not the same person. It's literally just Nathaniel Richards, Kang the Conqueror, inheriting his name in the same way that I'm Robert Jefferson III, right? My dad was a junior, my granddad was a senior, right? It's just that kind of a thing. So what ends up going on here is we end up learning that when Nathaniel took off into the time stream, it was because he was kind of part of his own Council of Reeds to a degree. And what had been going on here is that there was a member of himself, one of those guys out there, who had basically contained quantum energy to a degree, right? The ability to navigate through time. It ended up taking the combined efforts of the various Nathaniels from across the multiverse to bring this guy down. But when he was destroyed, they were all basically imbued with his ability to travel through time. What ended up happening here is when that happened, they were all basically met by Immortus and the Time Variance Authority. Now, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with this, Immortus is a version of Kang. It's ridiculously confusing. It's overly complicated. If you guys are interested, I can make a video that explains the differences between Kang the Conqueror, Immortus, Ramatut, Iron Lad. I can do that if that's what you guys want, if you think it'll make it easier for you to understand. And honestly, it'll probably help, given the fact that we're getting Kang in the MCU. We may end up seeing some of those characters. But the thing about this is that Immortus is just basically a version of Kang the Conqueror, is really all it is. He doesn't share the same desire to conquer everything. He just kind of oversees the time stream. But what he realizes is that, again, with the TVA trying to ensure that the time stream doesn't spin out of chaos and so on and so forth, having thousands of individuals who are all just variants of themselves being able to jump around the time stream would create all kinds of chaos. And so what Immortus does is he says, either I can destroy all of you now, or you can go into the Great Hunt. And what that will do is it's literally all of you tracking each other down. And the last man standing is the one who gets to live. And that's it. And that's what happens. Literally, it's a cat and mouse game. They're chasing each other all throughout the time stream, trying to kill each other, right? Trying to eradicate each other. And that's literally what Nathaniel's been dealing with. He's just been running from all of his counterparts this entire time. And there's only one counterpart left. There's only one version of himself that exists out there. And so what he's literally done here is come and meet Reed for the purpose of having Reed help him destroy his counterpart. Now, of course, Reed realizes he can't do it on his own. And so what he does is he goes and he visits his college rival, who we know to be Victor Von Doom. Dr. Doom. Now, this is before he becomes Dr. Doom, right? Before he gets his face is all scarred and he becomes like the demigod, dictator, ruler, warlord, amazing one-line giver to all of us, right? That guy. the guy who delivers the best one-liners ever. And so with them working together, again, we're kind of fast tracking through this a little bit so we can get to the really cool stuff. But what they do is they basically work together and they ultimately end up tracking down the counterpart version of Nathaniel himself. Now, the reality here is they're able to overcome this guy. It's kind of what we would expect. They're able to overcome and overpower this dude, take him out quite readily. The thing about this though is that Nathaniel cannot bring himself to kill his counterpart. And so what ends up going on here is Dr. Doom does it instead. Now, this is important because what Dr. Doom says is he tells Reed and he tells Nathaniel, I want you to remember this moment because a time will come when I will call on you for a favor. I will call on you for help and you will help me because I helped you here, because I literally solved this problem for you. That's going to become stupendously important. And so what ends up happening is you basically have Nathaniel who teleports away to meet back with Franklin again. Now, this is when we get to the super important stuff. And this is when this leads into what's arguably, not even arguably, definitively, not objectively, into the best moment ever in the history of Marvel Comics. Son. Man, I can't wait until we get to it. Oh my God, it's just like the best moment ever. Oh my God, like, I'm sorry, I'm so excited, people. But it is an exciting point in this story. It is really amazing. And I love it so much. Okay, so what we end up doing is we switch over to Valeria Richards, right? When Valeria travels back to the present day and meets with Susan. Now, I want you to remember this conversation. This is going to be incredibly important later on. So what ends up happening here is Valeria teleports to Susan. Susan doesn't know it's Valeria, right? It's a time condition red, right? Somebody's literally entering the Baxter building through the time stream and Susan attacks Valeria. Now, right off the bat, Valeria's just like, okay, mom, let me have some of that tea. And that's when Susan realizes it's Valeria. So the two of them start talking here, right? This conversation's so awesome because what happens is that there's a little bit of, you know, kind of like, hey mom, you look great. It's awesome to see you again. Wow, Valeria, you really grew up and you know, you look beautiful as a young woman and so on and so forth, right? All that kind of, hey, we're getting to know each other. And then Susan asks the question, why are you here? Now, this explanation from Valeria happens at the same time that Nathaniel basically travels back to Franklin. Now, for what Franklin does here, and this is something that's kind of important, we'll talk about that here in a second. What Valeria says is this, right? She says, it would be best if you did not view me as the bearer of bad news. What I'm going to tell you is not subjective, mother. It's not a potential course of action. It's already happened, right? And more importantly, there's nothing you can do to change it. So it's crucial that you get past denial and simply focus on listening. And she says, will you do that for me? And the response to Susan is yes. And so what Valeria says here is she says, after the last war, when all reality has collapsed into a single time stream and the heat death of everything is imminent, there is a white space where your son sits waiting for the new future we've created to overtake him. There, post-collapse, he acts as an anchor for the changes he's made. And when I return to him, I will serve that very same function regarding mine. We cement this new future that we have created with sacrifice. Mother, Franklin and I will die doing this. And so Susan immediately is like, no, I can't accept this. I won't, because she's literally being told by her daughter, me and your son are going to die. But again, she responding the way that a mother would. That's when Susan steps in and she says, no, you have to focus. You have to put your emotions to the side here. You can't focus on denial. You can't focus on trying to stop this. It doesn't work that way, right? However, there is a chance to save us, right? She says, we're running out of time and you have to focus. There are things you need to know. And literally Susan interrupts her, right? And she's like, how do you even know that what you're doing will work, right? You're just like your father thinking you can solve everything. And the response of Valeria is, actually, no, right? She says, I'm probably one of the smartest people that has ever lived, but this was not my idea. It was all Franklin's idea. He's the one that figured it out. And so Valeria says, time's almost up. She says, I don't want you to do what it is that you're going to do. Her response, the response of Valeria is, it's already done. And now for the knowledge, right? This is the part that's going to be ridiculously important because this is going to be echoed at a future point in time, right? She says, the coming days are going to be dark and full of loss. It will feel like everything is going to break apart, that it will shatter and everything will end. And she says, only you can hold us together. Can you be strong, mother? Stronger than you've ever been before. There will be a moment when you're going to want to give up, a moment when you're going to want to let go. When you reach that point, look into the sky, look up, and remember the price that was paid. That is going to be incredibly important because the best moment ever in Marvel Comics is when that's gonna come back. Anybody who knows anything about Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, y'all know what I'm talking about, son. Son. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. I can't wait till I can't wait till we get to that point, man. Man, it's gonna be absolutely crazy, son. It's gonna be absolutely crazy. Now, as for Franklin, this is what was going on with Nathaniel, right? Once Nathaniel jumps back to where Franklin is, and Franklin asks him, did you take care of your counterpart? The response to Nathaniel is yes, and Franklin's like, good. He cracks a hole in the time stream and tries to dump Nathaniel through it. Now, Nathaniel does not initially know why Franklin's doing this, right? He's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I can't use my powers. I can't travel through time. The response of Franklin is, I shut off your access to your powers. I took away your ability to use your powers. I'm gonna dump you into the time stream, and who knows where you're going to end up. But I'm pretty sure you'll find a way. Like, you'll find some way to survive and some way to return. Quite literally, what Franklin's doing is removing Nathaniel from the equation. And when the question's asked by Nathaniel, why are you doing this? The response of Franklin is, because you and your variants that are out there, you're responsible for the Council of Reeds. You're the ones who made them. And you're the one who broke my dad. The reality is, all those different versions of Reed Richards who were out there in the multiverse that joined the Council of Reeds, it was so easy for them to abandon their families and focus on solving the problem of everything because you abandoned them. I don't want you hopping and skipping through the timeline and screwing everything up. I have a very meticulously laid plan on how this is going to work, and you are too much of a variable to allow you to run around and do anything. You can't stay here because then you'll try to move around or something like that, and I need to be here for my own particular purpose, and you can't be moving through the time stream. So literally, he just shuts off his powers, kicks him out, and he just ends up landing somewhere out there in the time stream. Now, the cool thing about this is we're actually going to see, or we're gonna learn about Nathaniel encountering some amazing time streams along the way. Like, he ends up coming across Days of Future Past, but what ends up happening is once Valeria comes back, she's like, okay, is everything done? And the response of Franklin is yes. Nathaniel is no longer part of the equation. He's out there in the time stream. Who knows what he's doing, and he probably won't be able to gain his or use his powers in any capacity because I shut them off. And so what they say is okay, because like what's literally happening right now is this pocket reality that Franklin's built, it's collapsing, right? Like the pressure of the universe in the time stream is simply too much. That as powerful as he is in being able to hold it off, he can't hold it off permanently. And so what they're hoping for, right, in the actions that they've taken, what they're hoping for is this, right? Using the example that we use in the King the Conqueror video where we talked about like a meteor hitting Earth and like a tidal wave, them going back in time and basically making these changes, having these discussions, saying these things, that is creating changes to the time stream. And what they're hoping, and there's no way to even know for sure if it's going to work, what they're hoping is that this quote unquote tidal wave of change across the time stream, once it hits them and washes over, when they jump into the time stream and they land in the present day, they're hoping it worked. They're hoping that their statements and their actions were heard and that they can save the day. And so literally what they do, right? This is ridiculously important. What they do is they jump into the time stream. Where they come out, if you've read Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four before, you know exactly where they come out. They come out at the best moment ever in the history of Marvel Comics. I can't wait until we get there. We'll get there soon, probably in the next few weeks. I know a lot of you guys are like, no, I want to know now. I promise it's worth the wait because the next story we cover, that's when one of the members of the Fantastic Four dies. This guy goes out like a man. Oh my God, dude, this guy goes out like a hero. It's absolutely amazing. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.
Alright, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back later with some video games, so yeah, stay tuned. If you haven't already subscribed or followed, please do so. I really appreciate you guys watching. This has been King's Refuge, signing out. Deuces.